As you ever hear an opera singer and they're like, me, 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 me. It's always me. It's never do, it's never so. It's always me, which is such a weird, slightly egotistical note to pick, isn't it? I don't know. Maybe it isn't. No, I haven't seen any opera singers any recent time, if any, at all, actually. I don't know. Anyways, 3, 2, 1. Hello everybody, welcome to the stream. It is the Biendeo stream today on this fine 23rd of February 2026. Oh my gosh, I keep forgetting the dates. I hope you're having a wonderful week, and we'll have a wonderful week ahead of you. My week has been, it's been chill, a bit of pride and accomplishment. So we'll chat about games I've played, but also we have the regular run of AI news, as well as also perhaps, I guess, us leveraging copyright against the big players in terms of the class action. I'm not running this at all, but we got some fun ones to talk about today. But anyways, let's dive into the game. Whoop. Sup, Fetty? You missed nothing. I didn't even realize your Twitch name is just the Fet Machine. Where did the rest of the Fet word go? Where did it go? We'll never know. But no, I was just sort of introducing the stream. I briefly mentioned opera singers. But yeah, if you missed the last week's stream or any of the previous week's stream, what's the classic? Oh, it triggered the word filter? Ah, it's a shame. What's the classic Australian saying? Where the bloody hell are you? Like that kind of, you know, where have you been? But nah, last week's stream was a bit of a pain, but we did catch Suicune and, bit of needless grind. Not needless, but just lots of grinding. And in this stream, I've come to... I know you were there. This is for the other people, the randos, not the randos, but shout out to the YouTube analytics. For some odd reason, Seen from an Italian Restaurant is a very popular stream name because there were a lot more views on last week's stream VOD than there were on the other ones. So I have to sort of introduce the stream as if people hadn't watched the other ones. I'm immediately ditching Hitmontop. I know I tried bringing him up as a darling child, but nah. Say hi to Tom back. I feel like Espeon is probably my way forward. But I am kind of running a bit of a... This is going to be a very cliche team because, I mean, we're going Entei, we got Suicune. You know who's probably going to show up at some point this stream. But anyways, we shall continue on. But yeah, no, we're up to this point. We're at, what is it, 25 out of the 48 Shadow Pokemon. I'm not sure if I'll really get all of them because... there are a few different topics. I've got a bunch of topics as well. But we can head over to the Shadow Pokemon Lab. Because we have, well, you know, at the end of the last stream, we did indeed get a key. You know, for the main gate. Which we can use. And that's a door sound. The Shadow Realm. Exactly. But we can have a look around here. I don't know if they'd be holding items casually out here. Unfortunately, the electric wall is... I'm very certain you can roll under that, man. There's nothing keeping you in here. Oh, hold on, you put something out there? Ah, that's cheeky, lad. It's weird, in a game filled with Pokemon that attack you directly, you would think the electric walls would maybe attack me. That's a cheeky spot for an item, though, I'll tell you that. I hope it's worth it. Although it's probably not too worth it, given that I could have gotten this ages ago. Yeah, a revive. Yeah, 3 revives. Not too bad. But yeah, we'll make our way through this place while also leveling up some Pokemon on the way. I've got Entei up the front. I'm not too sure if I'm gonna keep Ampharos, because you'll see why. But I did find, as well, I did a little bit of research, and not just research, I'm relying on someone else's opinion. The Smogon Pokémon Colosseum tier list. Also, we can't go in that way. We gotta go in the side door. But the Smogon tier list. Is it Smogon or Smogon? I never know. But in here, check it out. It's a shutter switch. It was that easy. You just had to press the switch and you were good. And then we need a card key to go that way. So, there's a key slot. Unfortunately, I don't have a disc. The Nintendo Switch, exactly. It almost looks like a computer, but it's not. I'm not too sure how far we have to go before we get a PC as well, because you know when there's going to be oh look, a PC. I think I also read up ahead of time, this is the only PC in this whole area, so you'll be seeing me walk back here a bit. But we do have the Smogon tier list for which Pokemon you can get in this game and how good they are. At the absolute top of the tier list is Croconaw, because I apparently chose the wrong starter, and that's fine. I'm a big fan of Meganium, but I'm also like, grass types are sometimes a bit hit and miss. Also, third on the tier list is Espeon. You start off with Espeon. To be fair though, like, they've got, what is it? They've got the high tier, and Meganium is... or Bayleaf is third on the low tier list, on the low list. A bunch of this, Umbreon is near the bottom of the high tier. This tier list is very geared towards the single player as well, and it's, there's a lot of, why are they single me out for these extra assignments? They're still packing, oh, okay. A lot of the way that this tier list is based is partially based on how early you can actually get that Pokemon. So obviously Espeon and Umbreon are going to be high on the list purely because you get them early. The starters are generally high. Also, Flaffy is fourth on the list. Entei is second. Also, Double Voltorb battle. Ooh. Unfortunately for me, I relied on Hitmontop for a bit, and I never found great success with Hitmontop. At least for the stream that I did use him in. Hitmontop is up in the mid tier, but is like right next to Misdreavus and Noctowl and Mantine. And these are all Pokemon I kind of got at roughly the same time, but it's like, you know, is there a better fighting type? And the answer was Makuhita, because I didn't hit Mantop exactly. But Makuhita is a higher one. Also, Meditite is a higher one. So me choosing more subpar fighting type is probably, that's on me. Myron Secret Castle. If you're wondering as well, I believe one of the high tier Pokemon, other than obviously Raikou. Oops, I dropped the lift key. I mean the card key. Now we can get into the lab. You're telling me I can't just go down the stairs? That makes sense. That does make sense. Isn't it so weird you got to do this detour? It's not like it even like sits here and shows you that, yeah, this is directly above where you caught the train and it blew up and you rode the train back. It's like, oh, you gotta just look there. And annoyingly, yeah, that's the one. I might as well save again. But like, that's the one PC. That's the only one. We're gonna have to rely on that one. But yeah, there's only other one Pokemon in the high tier that we haven't gotten. That's not Raikou, of course. And I won't mention which one it is. But it's like, it is good. It's just late, but it is good. And then everything else that is, like, this late in the game is probably, you know, it's like, you know, how useful is it? The 30th Anniversary Direct, yes! So I'll briefly mention as a topic, I know this one's gonna come up, but people saw and definitely shared the Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green re-release on the Switch. I'd call it a re-release because it very much is just a virtual console. Oh, hi there. It very much is just a console re-release. There's nothing to it. It is, yeah, it's 20 US dollars, it's 30 Australian, which is a fair bit for a game. But a part of me goes, well, you know what? You do own it. I prefer it over the stream stuff, especially, you know, long scale kinds of games like that. I think it does work better. Also, Apom is our first Shadow Pokemon of the day. I'm just gonna go with a good old Shadow Rush and we'll see what happens. It's gonna do a bit of damage, but I don't think it'll kill him. Oh, especially with my attack falling. Oh yeah, definitely not. I could probably do this again. But yeah, there's not much to say about the Fire Red and Leaf Green remaster other than, generally, my opinion is I think games should be available on as many systems as possible, but I hate the idea that you have to keep rebuying. Yeah, I hate the idea that you gotta keep rebuying the same versions of games again. I do like re-releases that enhance the content in some way. I know people will sometimes find the example, like, I just played through, generally, most of Hyrule Warriors. I did not care about 100%ing and clearing out every single map, but I spent a fair bit of time in the adventure mode and I unlocked every character on the Switch version. But that's one where it's like, I own the Wii U version. I didn't buy the DLC for it. I then didn't buy the 3DS version, or the DLC for that, but I bought the Switch version. And that's one where it's like, yeah, technically every version keeps adding more content, but, you know, it's like, is it worth it to buy every version of the same game? It's up to the user, up to the person. But I definitely say, hey, it seals the deal if you can do something that makes this version of the game a bit more special, I guess, a bit more fancy. Yeah, you're right, where the Nintendo emulators, you know, sometimes it's hit and miss, sometimes it's on point, sometimes it's not. But yeah, it's like, well, compared to the ones that have been, you know, open source and been updated for decades, like MGDA is a decades-old emulator. They do a really good job, and the commercial ones don't quite get there all the time. So really, the only thing you're really competing against if you do a straight re-release like this, obviously, is either if you can add additional features or functionality or anything like that to the game, which this one does not. They briefly included Pokemon Home support and online play. That is not true. That is not in the game, apparently. Well, I don't know, actually. I don't think people have actually got their hands on this version, so we'll check back in next week, see what the dealio is. But they removed it from the description. They briefly had that it had Pokemon Home support and all this stuff on the description. And I feel like, well, you know, on the one hand, I do feel like, you know, for me, Pokemon Home is not that much of a selling point. But for others, I get it. I get it. So, people want to play these games and then transfer their Pokemon into the newer ones. But yeah, it's like, it should be in it if, well, how should I say? It really would convince a lot of people to buy this version. And also, like, not to criticize, or not to endorse the piracy, but like, oh my goodness, these may be the most copied files in the world. Every GBA Pokemon game might be so prominently shared around online that you gotta really compete against, like, a lot of people who probably are in a, yeah, I'm good situation. They've been there. They've played these games to death. And now you gotta convince them to buy the game. To some degree, I go, hey, if you never actually bought the game in the past, it should be an opportunity to do it. But I also feel like, well, Nintendo should get or Pokemon Company should get the message, wow, this Apom is very temperamental, ain't he? Like, I know his health isn't all the way down, but like, it is a certain, well, yeah, at the end of the day, it's like, you know, we don't know the quality of this port. Certainly, you know, people are going to say, oh, it's a lazy port, but it's like, I don't mind a GBA emulator I think maybe it should be priced a little more appropriately. Also, Cast Form. And Cast Form is not a is not a Shadow Pokemon. We don't have to worry about Cast Form existing. That was a great transformation. I'm glad we did that. Well, yeah, it's not really a port, but it is a re-release in the same way that there's a lot of, you know, Legacy Collection, all these types of re-releases like that. I guess the only thing that's a little weird is you only get the one game, and you really only get the one game. They make a big point about how the one game is also the one language of the game. If you want to play the game in a different language, unfortunately, you gotta buy the right version. Apparently, there's a special version or a special release. I'm not too sure if it's physical, actually, in Japan. But since it's only in Japan, it's only the Japanese version of the game, and there's no English version along with it, which is such a bummer. So, and also just to add insult to injury, and I know it's expected, but it always irks me. You gotta buy Fire Red and Leaf Green separately. I know, it's like, a part of me feels like they're continuing to do that double dip tradition that they always have done. There's a reason why Pokemon is a very highly sold game, is that it naturally, maybe not doubles, but it certainly does attract a lot of people who buy the game twice, just right away. Right up. Well, Apom's the only Pokemon left, and I've been trying to get him, but to no avail. It's gonna get me swiftly. I don't really have a weak attack. Like I feel like I might be able to tap him with a secret power, but I'm not confident in only tapping him with secret power. Like I feel like I'm just gonna keep throwing Pokeballs and we'll hope for the best. Also, is there a Pokemon Center anywhere here or no? I don't think there is yet, so I actually gotta go back to... That'll be the quickest place to heal. Also, come on! This Apom is so temperamental, jeez. But yeah, should you buy this game? You know, one, obviously, if we discount the finding of a certain file on the internet, then, yeah, sure. You know, it's Pokemon Leaf Green or Fire Red. It's bound to be alright, sure. If you've played the game already, part of me feels maybe it'd be best to just play the game you've always played. Don't believe Leaf Green and Fire Red include a clock. Someone can correct me on that one. Do they have the in-game clock like the other third-gen games do, or is it its own thing? Because it doesn't have a day-night cycle. Well, I mean, not like Ruby Sapphire had either, but like it doesn't have berry planting or any of that stuff. Oh, come on. That would have been great if it's like, okay, finally Apom's done. What's his catch rate? Its catch rate is 45, which is lowish, but not too bad. It's like the Stantler from the other day. They revealed that they made a Pokemon 30th logo for every Pokemon and every form. Oh my gosh. Pokemon be like, let's put our budget to... I mean, I love the idea of celebrating every single Pokemon, but it's like, oh my gosh, they do indeed put in a lot of effort in places that I wouldn't expect, and then they proceed to accidentally say that the Fire Red Leaf Green has Pokemon Home support. I don't know, there's weird blunders in places. But yeah, hopefully it's okay. What is it as well? Pokepia? That comes out very, very soon as well, doesn't it? I think it does. Yeah. It gives you an image of a random Pokemon. So that means that some rando somewhere... Actually, it's a little bit of social media like engagement baiting, but I'll accept it. Because you are getting at least something in return, and it's not a monetary thing, even though it sort of is a little bit for them. But That's fine. That's fine. So someone has the Munchlax reply. Somewhere in there. Oh, thank you, Sarah B. Great sight, Sarah B. How many Pokeballs have I thrown? I'm pretty sure it's been at least 10 now, hasn't it? Yeah, jeez. We're already 20 minutes into the stream. Still not getting past this guy. Finally. Oh my goodness. Took a while. Whew. Why am I the loser? But then you look at that, $1,700. You can buy 8.5 balls with it, and he's just gone. He's just disappeared. So yeah, so I'm thinking off the top of my head, what is the closest piece or Pokemon Center on the map? Because there's obviously nowhere to heal. Can't interact with this again. We'll find a healing spot at some point, but complain and you shall attain. True, true. I got a couple of stories that are about that. Well, not the construction lot. Probably Mount Battle, actually. It's probably the closest one. Because you don't have to wait for a lift animation if you go into the under, even though the Colosseum is right there. It's like, it's probably a little quicker to walk in through that door, and the PC is on the same side there. Good chances they reveal Gen 10. Gen 10, he turns into an alien when he presses his watch. His yokai watch. I'm mix and matching, Mike. But no, that'd be exciting. We're kind of due for it as well. I mean, it was 2020. Every mainline Pokemon game came out on a 3-year cadence for a very long time. And we missed it. Because that should have been last year that we had our mainline Pokemon game. And before you say, oh, then we have Legends Zaza. Yeah, but we had Legends Arceus in the same year as a Scarlet Violet. Hey, all I hope for is that it's a good fun time game and it doesn't have the same issues as the previous game. It'll probably have its own issues, but hey, that's fine. That's what makes these Pokemon games neat. Is every one of them does something weird. Every single one of them. Sky Sphere included. Maybe, yeah. Also, is that a Pikachu poster? Also, is that light reflecting off the floor? But because I can't see the ceiling, I've got no clue that's actually there. Maybe. So, I've got a story. Hi there. You're not supposed to be in the lab without your lab coat. Oh. This is reported from 404 Media. Leaked documents show Nvidia scraping a human lifetime of videos per day to train AI. Which, this is very similar to Facebook, or technically Meta, got caught doing this months ago. They went through a court case and the court sided in their favor, which I found incredibly surprising. Also, I've got Bite and Fire Blast because Entei is almost done, but Fire Blast will be great against these guys when it hits. But for both of these cases, like, it does sound on the surface quite similar. Both Facebook and YouTube need to get the training data to make their AI do what it does. In Facebook's case, also, I love how he hits Thunder, but I don't get to hit Fire Blast. Actually, was that 2 Thunders? I wasn't paying attention to what move was the first one. Probably was, which makes me sad. I wouldn't necessarily say malicious purposes, but certainly, like, commercial... Wow. Okay, yeah, I got hit by 3 Thunders and I missed 2 Fire Blasts. That was a bummer and a half of a turn, wasn't it? Okay, well, Suicune, you're up. Unsavory, yeah, well, it's not to say that, like, companies don't necessarily produce, and I know it's a water type, I know, but I feel like, you know, we might as well go in with the Shadow Rush and see if, deal some damage. We got the crit. Discord also said... I had that as a story. Hold on, we're jumping the gun with the stories. And that's a different one. That's a different scenario under the hood. But I'll mention that there is sort of a collective goal. That is true. Sorry. But I did have the Discord one. I briefly mentioned that Discord is really doing something weird with the facial scans. But we'll get into... Oh my gosh, every single one of these guys knows Thunder, and they're all hitting. Every single one of them. Anyways, this article, you can't read, because 404 Media doesn't really let you continue reading it. So I'm going to sort of summarize the Gamers Nexus video that, the advocacy group, the Gamers Nexus advocacy channel video on this. But effectively, yeah, Nvidia, sort of similar to what was found in Facebook's leaked documents, is that certain employees definitely have a conscience in a way that maybe some of the higher-ups don't. And they go, isn't it illegal for us to be... There's a bot. That is a much more normal URL, though, compared to various other bots I've seen before. So, at least there's that. Also, man, I gotta heal after this fight because he took out both of my legendaries. Because I can't land anything with Fire Blast, jeez. Both of these companies, various engineers have basically gone, isn't it illegal for us to be scraping this data from these kinds of sources? In the case of Facebook, it actually was, they were scraping Anna's Archive, which is a site famous for, I won't necessarily say pirated material, but, well, yeah, there's a lot of books that aren't actually formally being sold there, but also Light Screen. Light Screen would be curious. A part of me really wants to hold on to Sunny Day just because I know Sunny Day would be great. Light Screen's a decent move, but Sunny Day will be great should I get Solar Beam, but I feel like that's going to take forever to come up, so I guess we'll leave Light Screen for the moment. We'll see what happens. Ouch. Typical. Typical. Self-destruct hit both? No, it only hits one, doesn't it? Oh no, it does hit both. Oh, that's just irritating. That is a real irritating fight right there. Awooga. There we go. Anyways, the employees have gone, yeah, should they have been scraping that kind of stuff? Nvidia, in their case, they didn't scrape Anna's Archive, although maybe they did? I'm not too sure. But they scraped a lot of video content, and the majority, or maybe a plurality of video content that they scraped was off of YouTube. And I will note this specifically because obviously, YouTube does not like people mentioning the fact that people can scrape content off of YouTube. And I won't mention specific tools, but certainly they do exist. They have indeed been scraped. Part of this, I think there's actually a class action lawsuit being raised by 3 channels, one of which I had 1 million subs, and the other 2 were not as big, but they were both golfing related, which I find is actually quite an interesting market, because it's like, golf videos are often quite protective of property and stuff like that. I don't know, usually I find that's the case. But yeah, they've raised a class action lawsuit, and part of their lawsuit includes kind of an argument that Nvidia has effectively stolen their intellectual property for commercial use without their authorized permission. And in the Meta lawsuit, which ended in Meta's, I guess Meta won it, they basically argued that technically turning the AI, or turning that data into, which is weird because it's like, wasn't the whole point of the data about piracy, or part of the argument about piracy? And I guess they can make the case of, well, actually, I don't know. I really don't know how they even managed to get out of that one. But part of the judge's ruling was that Meta wasn't actually infringing on the original copyright owner's material, because turning things into an AI model creates an algorithmic weighting of inputs to outputs and doesn't necessarily recreate the actual content itself. I think they attribute it akin to how a human learns things. Obviously, a human, which is weird because like can't a human just reiterate something verbatim if they remembered it perfectly, I guess. But I think they're trying to say it's like getting inspired by something. It doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, you're infringing on their copyright just because you witnessed something and you now created a piece of work that is kind of like it. Yeah, I'm like, they didn't argue the scraping point at all, and I have no idea how this lawsuit managed to end without answering that point. The word is you've been wrecking havoc with our plans. Oh, jeez. Corrin? You're not a Final Fantasy character, are you? Final Fantasy, Fire Emblem character, are you? Who knows? I'm not a big fan of that definition, especially given that we've had a paper that actually... well, to be fair, the paper makes the case that you can effectively map outputs back to inputs in an AI model because it is, well, generally, if the model is large enough and has a transformative enough output, then there will effectively be one input for every output. And that means, can I not hit anything with Fire Blast, by the way? I know it has an accuracy of 70%. But so does Thunder, and that's the 5th time I've seen my opponent use Thunder in a row, and that's 3 Fire Blasts that I've missed in a row. This is a tremendous failure from Entei's side. I don't know what's going on there. Jeez, Entei. There's nothing you can really do to make Fire Blast more accurate, unfortunately, but like... wow. What's happening? What is going on there? Actually, no, I take it back. He did miss with Thunder earlier, so there is that. But also, on the other hand, I feel like you can train, like, fundamentally, nothing stops an AI from spitting out something... yeah, true. Nothing stops an AI from spitting out something verbatim. If you train it well enough, if the model is deep enough, and the ideal outcome should be that you have the immediate best answer, the ideal answer for every single input, which can unfortunately mean, hey, tell me this poem verbatim, and it will tell you that poem verbatim. Now, can you look through the model files and see the poem sitting there? No, because the way the model is that it's effectively a bunch of linear weights. It's got nodes in it. The nodes have connections to other nodes, and basically it multiplies a value that comes across that node by the weight value, and then it adds up all the values into the next node because it's being connected with many nodes, and then that's what it computes. That's how neural networks work. It's just all a bunch of linear algebra, and the data doesn't actually sit there in plain text, but like obviously it's there in the sense that, well, you can recreate it. It's like how an image file isn't necessarily the neurons hitting your eyes, or compressed audio isn't really like the raw bits are not just the waveform. There's certainly more in it that, you know, and it's compressed as well. I guess it'd be like saying is a zip file like copyright infringement? Because it's like, well, the bits aren't there, but if you algorithmically, you know, hit it with this, then yeah, you can see the output. You know what I mean? It's effectively the same thing in the eyes of the actual material underneath it. And if anything, as well, you can actually use neural nets as a form of compression. We've seen this in various examples from Nvidia. Legally, yeah, exactly. Like, I'm not too sure what's the... Also, wow, I'm getting my butt kicked by these electric types, because I guess I'm not rocking a... like, I don't really have anything to deal with the steel, except for Entei, who seems to not be hitting anything with Fire Blast. I'm hoping he gets Flamethrower, a much more reliable fire type attack, when he purifies. FU. The shadow Pokemon that were made here have been transported out already. Battle all you want. There's no stopping our shadow Pokemon plan now. Now, curiously, the class action lawsuit actually, you know, first of all, they make the case that using stuff for an AI model is indeed copyright infringement. Okay, sure. And then, on top of that, there's an added clause. And this is one that I, like, you know, I think they make the case that the reason why they upload it to YouTube is because YouTube provides protection from scrapers for content creators. Now, I agree with Gamers Nexus. It's a bit of BS in the sense that I don't think anyone really chooses YouTube because YouTube protects the content from being scraped. I feel like if you want to protect the content from being scraped, you don't put it publicly on the internet where you can see it without an account or anything. But YouTube does do things. It uses JavaScript challenges. It uses a lot of IP tracking. We're even doing a bunch of stuff trying to detect ad blockers and other sort of scraping tools. Like, you have to actually use JavaScript in order to download a YouTube video now. Did I mention that? Whoops. But you have to do a bunch of stuff in order to get YouTube videos these days. So certainly, it's not just a video file that's just sitting on the internet. There is indeed copy protection. That's the key word I want to add into the mix. The fact that there is copy protection and the fact that Nvidia scraped, arguably they said all of YouTube, which I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure how feasible it is to scrape all of YouTube, but they probably scraped a ton of it. They've got big data centers. They actively took efforts to rotate IP addresses and generate a lot of traffic. They bypassed the protection, which technically under Section 1201 of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, a section I absolutely hate because it prevents reverse engineering efforts and things like that for emulation. But yeah, in this case, let's wield the sword of Damocles. Let's look at these fellas and go, hey, you are violating this law. I think it makes sense to me. There's clearly copy protection on YouTube. People upload to YouTube with the expectation that their content is, consumed normally, and instead, here is Nvidia making a commercial product which inevitably, I won't say it guarantees, but 100%, it inevitably will result in a tool that replaces their market. Nvidia's model will eventually be like, hey, you ask the model, okay, finally, we're going to use Fire Blast, and we're going to hit, there we go, we finally got it. We finally got it. There we go. Nvidia's tool will eventually be used to spit out a video. Doesn't necessarily have to be their video, but it's going to be a video that is good enough that people don't need to watch the original golf video. People don't need to watch the original content creators video. And certainly we are seeing this already in the world. We are seeing people look at AI-generated videos released on platforms like, particularly Instagram is terrible with this. I don't know what's going on there. And it replaces other content creators. And this kind of material is effectively trained using the content that is on the sites. It's no secret. It's like, there's a reason why most of the AI models that we've seen are all released by the actual social media companies. Isn't that a bit funny that all the social media companies have that? Because they can easily make the copyright case of, well, it was uploaded to our platform and you do indeed give us specific permission to use your material for our own commercial purposes. Sure, Nvidia does not have the commercial use to YouTube content, technically. And also, you uploading videos to YouTube doesn't actually... How would I say? Nvidia can't argue retroactively that every user on YouTube would agree to send their data to Nvidia. So obviously, they are doing this not with the copy... Also, on top of that, YouTube does not own the copyright material of videos on its website. Like, clearly there is intellectual property of the content itself on the website that transcends YouTube. We need the down street key. I think I'll save just because there is another fight. But I will only save because we did indeed survive a battle. Save myself the long travel. I think there are a number of shadow Pokemon and things like that to catch in here, so, we'll probably be here for a decent bit of the stream. I did originally spitball that this might be a 6-week game. We're on week 5, and we are kind of close to the end of the game. Even though I haven't caught any more shadow Pokemon, but trust me, there's a handful more in here. I don't know if it'll be 6 weeks, but it certainly won't be too more than 6 if it is. And I don't know how much of the post game I'd actually do, because quite a fair bit of it, well, not quite a fair bit, but some of it involves purifying every Pokemon in the game, and I'm like, I'm not too sure if everyone will have the patience to just watch me. You're not supposed to be in it. I don't think everyone will have the patience of watching me just purify my shadow Pokemon. So I'll just tell you what was in it when we get to it, that is. Everyone likes Nuzleaf. Okay, yeah, we'll just go with Secret Power, because I feel like we're gonna lose the type matchup on that one. Is Dark against Dark half effective? I'm not too sure, so continue the spiel. Well, the spiel kind of ends there. We haven't exactly had a direct response from Nvidia on this one, but certainly it is an interesting scenario, because effectively regular citizens are wielding the DMCA clause up against Nvidia, and I feel like, again, the more and more cases like this come up, hopefully the more and more courts look at you know, I guess the myriad of people's data effectively being used to train models that are used to mass commercialize products against them. And I say against them in the sense that, like, ChatGPT is throwing ads for things. It's just like, oh, like, I didn't ask for my data to be used to train for ads. Also, it's not even my data, I didn't really use any of these sites, but it's like, people have effectively given, you know, like, the cat was out of the bag the moment you could publicly search so much data on the internet. You know, they call it the age of information, but it's like, the reason why people are able to train all these big AI models, and especially on, especially the language ones, is because we have a massive amount of, you know, language available for people to read and write. And also on top of that, we have a lot of video, we have a lot of audio, we have a lot of things that are able to, we'll just spitball, Pokeball, and then I'm just going to use Bite, and we'll have Dark against Dark so I can see what's going on. But Bite shouldn't be too strong a move. This Murkrow should be okay, hopefully. And if I catch Murkrow first go, then sweet, but probably, yeah, probably not. Almost snagged his uppercase, I'll always mention that one. Ooh, Nightshade, I think, yeah, no, Entei's gone, because Nightshade is, it's like Seismic Throw. It deals damage based on the level, so that's just a flat 43 damage. Not getting around that one. Let's send out Suicune, why not? It is the last Pokemon, so I mean, can't hurt to just keep throwing balls. But yeah, I do, like, yeah, from an intellectual, yeah, I'll talk about Discord then. So this one is, so specifically, we've got this one tweet, and I'll cite Pirate Nation's tweet, although, you know, Pirate Nation has said some real, like, wrong things recently. Actually, this tweet doesn't include Discord. I think maybe he deleted it, but this one mentions LinkedIn. LinkedIn uses Persona for age verification. Discord, for a hot moment, was about to use Persona for age verification. Not the game. There's a company that effectively is doing facial ID checking. I think they're using one called KID, which looks like the word kid. I'm not too sure why. They seem to be using that, at least in Australia. Maybe there's different companies for different countries. I'm not too sure which ones. KID also are very, very annoying. Discord, for reference as well, they had flagged my account as a teen account. I have no idea why. The account is 10 years old, as of today, actually. I'm pretty sure it is. And it's like, well, you know, you could have been exactly 8 when you made that account. And it's like, yeah, I guess, but like, my YouTube account is older than 18 years. We'll just say that. Like, that should be a clear indicator. Happy Discord birthday, yeah! But like, there should be clear indicators that, like, I'm definitely above age. I'm not too sure how exactly to convey that, but like, the freaking automatic detection of whether you're a teenager or an adult is so terrible, because if you are indeed an adult and you get flagged as a teen, you're lumped into this process and getting yourself verified, which I guess, okay, like, you know, what's the harm in getting everyone verified? Well, okay, it's just an absolute hassle, and we'll get into that in a moment. If you're a teenager or younger and you somehow get flagged as an adult, well, like, that's a failure on Discord's end. The whole point of the system is that they're not letting in teenagers into the adult-only content, or they're verifying that people are of age, because I'm not too sure if Discord is not on the Australian social media ban list, is it? So you don't have to be 16 to use Discord here, but certainly they started to incorporate some of the stuff because of Australia, and then they just went, okay, let's just deploy it worldwide, because why not? I don't know why. I don't know why all these countries are pushing in the age verification laws and stuff, because they just see Australia go, oh, it's successful. No, it's not. We got no clue. No one has any idea that any of this stuff is even working, or that people's lives are being improved. You know what's ruining people's lives? The fact that, like, they can't read. Like, I don't think social media helps, but, like, I don't know. I got a lot of rant about on that one. I'm worried about hitting Murkrow anymore because, obviously, the, Shadow Rush. That's so annoying, you gotta deal with Shadow Rush every time. Ooh, catch rate of 30, it's even lower. Okay. Statistics are never... Oh, exactly. Yeah, never let a good fact get in the way of a good narrative. Or something like that. Ouchies. But yeah, so Discord had collaborated with Persona for a hot moment about verifying ages and IDs. And ideally the system lets you either take a photo of your face, well, not a photo, but at least for KID it was like you sit in front of the webcam and then you open your mouth and close it and you turn your head to the side, and it sends metadata about your face or something like that. That's what they claim. They claim that it's only on the servers for a week or something like that, and then it's deleted immediately after the week. Now, to me, I go, hey, after you tell me that I am verified, there is no reason for that to be on your server. Like, it has served its purpose. Also, it shouldn't even be on the server. Yeah, it shouldn't even be on the server at all. Like, this should be a local client problem to solve. The problem, obviously, is, well, if it's a local client problem to solve, then can't the local client just tell it that it's done? And the answer is yes, and there's sort of a cat and mouse kind of thing where the company is putting in workarounds to try and get around the people who just know how to send correct JavaScript responses. Which is always good fun, but, like, that's the point of that's the problem of the system. Never mind that we already had a Discord data leak, and I say Discord data because people were using it for Discord support. I don't care if it was a third-party support website. The third-party support website is serving the product of Discord. It is Discord data. I don't know how on earth they're going to get around that PR. It really irks me that they're trying to argue that it's not, as well as that. And they leaked a lot of, I believe it's UK citizens in particular, government IDs and faces. Stuff that, who knows how long it'd been, retained for. They never informed anyone that their data had actually been stolen until quite a fair bit later, and they didn't tell individual people that their data was specifically part of the data set. They just told generally that data has been leaked and you should probably protect your identity. Oh, no, stuff like that. I don't know if this was Persona. I don't think it was. But Persona has recently had a leak of a sort. Now, minus the alarmism right now, this is a source code leak. This is not a data leak. So if you had uploaded your images or stuff like that to Persona 1, I'm sorry that you're in this position where it's like, you're relying on the site not losing the stuff. But fortunately, they haven't lost it yet. This is not a leak of any data or anything that's uploaded to the website, but it is for some odd reason, their entire source code in TypeScript was available via an endpoint. Yeah, exactly. Which, yeah, you're putting great faith that they've done the right thing. And given the repeated track records of nearly every tech company, even at an accelerating rate, is getting things exposed more and more, and especially in the world of vibe coding. Hey, you know what's really easy to vibe code? Things that expose vibe-coded security vulnerabilities. It's so easy, guys. Unironically, it kind of is. But part of the source code has shown that data is retained on Persona servers for 3 months. Also, they don't delete you. They don't delete the presence of you and your linkage to various, like things like your address, things like your name, things like actual codes for government IDs. It's like, this is a time bomb waiting to happen as well, mind you. Even if they delete data after 3 months, hey, that's a 3-month snapshot. Yeah, I want a Pokemon. Ah, they took all the Pokemon. This is a bit of, it's not really environmental storytelling. But it's kind of neat that, that's the... I'm gonna keep following the left path. It seems to be an ideal one. It's off limits! You can touch my letters, Vanna. Wait. I'm a big fan of Tyranitar. He's an awesome one. And I say he, but this is a Pupitar. And it's also a she. So. But yeah, most of the source code doesn't really say too much. Like, there's not that many smoking guns beyond that point. But it is an incredibly frightening thing that I believe a lot of this stuff was actually on the FedRAMP environment. Like, for reference, FedRAMP is a US government set of regulations. I'm not too sure all the specific restrictions in place, but certainly there being a FedRAMP environment means that this is a product that is used by... I should probably purify anti as well while I'm at it. But this is a product that is used by the United States government. And perhaps a FedRAMP environment that is publicly exposed would be accessible to the wider world. That doesn't sound like it's a very safe thing. This looks like a very bad thing if that is actual government data. But yeah, part of a lot of the terrifying stuff in this document, or in these source code leaks, and to be fair, the site doesn't want to host the source code in any way, but they were like, well, for fair use, we can drop snippets, and we imported the snippets that they wanted to talk about. Also, Fortress. Fortress is neat, but I'm just like, how easy is it to use Fortress in a single-player environment? Chugga could do it in his Crystal playthrough. I'm not that good. It's really weird in 3rd gen, because it's like, yeah, he's level 43. He's kind of learned almost all of his moves by this point. Also, Zubat. Really? We get to this point and it's just not an evolved Zubat. But yeah, no, Fortress is bulky as, so this is going to be a bit of a fun one to get through. What's the catch rate? 75! Whoa, what? Okay. It's decently high. But yeah, effectively a lot of this data is building a profile about individuals in a way that you probably didn't ask for. This underlying company is indeed storing your information and building an identifiable profile on you. From everything down to name, to billing address, to shipping details, to age, to, you know, possibly like, are you a terrorist? This is very worrying. And obviously, government things are going to do this. I get it. But this is Discord. This is a site where I send silly memes to my friends. And then voice chat with them. This should not require any of this kind of stuff. At all. It really shouldn't. And I feel like it's a gross overreach from Discord side. This is a very heated topic, isn't it? I'm really like passionate about this one, but like this is a real This is a real gross, like, overreach from Discord's side. I'm glad that they've backpedaled from using this company. But on the flip side, the problem with this whole, like, oh, you gotta, like, verify people's ages, is that it is absolutely ripe for abuse by this kind of stuff. Because I'm not too sure if Discord was actually aware of all the uses, all the things that the site was actually doing under the hood. I think maybe they were sold a product, they've struck a deal, and they were just like, let's integrate with you, and they did it, and that's it. Maybe that's that. Obviously, I don't think they were looking into their source code, because obviously they're a commercial company. They're not going to just casually tell Discord their source code. The only... Easy catch. 75, man. So what are we at? 3? 3 on the Shadow Pokemon here? I'm not too sure how many there are in total. I think there are... Glancing through the list, I think there's another 4. Look at that, halfway through already. Let's purify Entei while we're at it. But yeah, it grinds my gears because it's just like, this is the clear endpoint for all this stuff, is that effectively there's going to be massive data. Yeah, exactly. Like, companies keep having to do third-party integrations because obviously building your own, we might as well go to Agate right away. Obviously building your own facial identification system is quite intense, and many sites, I remember Newgrounds famously were like, yeah, we can't really do anything other than if you want to, like, do a credit card payment and we'll try and charge you back, because that at least verifies that you have access to a credit card, which is like, oh, you know, that's the best we can really do. But they don't want to go down the facial identification route. Also, I feel like credit card is always a tenuous thing, but at the very least, there is privacy with credit card transactions. Like, the bank can obviously source the transaction, but the bank doesn't actually know your account. Newgrounds knows your account, but it doesn't necessarily know the finer details of the transaction. Like, there's a lot of anonymity that happens from their end. And Newgrounds is an OG, and also on top of that, I believe they clearly have a pulse on how the internet should be working. That's why they became such a big site, is because clearly they appealed to the right demographic at the right time, and they did it in a good way. They did it in a good way. I don't think Newgrounds has ever peeved off people, really. I hope not. Maybe they have. I don't know. Anyway, let's purify Entei. There we go. Sunny day. That's not flamethrower. Do I have the item for flamethrower? I've got Steel Wing. Maybe I should buy the TM for flamethrower, because I feel like Entei is probably going to constantly get caught out by Fire Blast. Which, yeah, just for reference, just for the reference for the people at the back. Also, didn't even get a level. That's how little fighting I've been doing. Oh, it's 85 accuracy. That makes that worse. It's a great move, but oh, when the accuracy is not on your side, it sucks. I can't believe as well Leer is one of his moves. I like this game, but I've completely forgotten that the move listing for all these Pokemon just gets trash because you've skipped all the good levels. You skipped all the proper moments to learn moves, and so it's just like, it's just a bit of a catastrophe once you get to this point. It's like, oh, okay. But yeah, no, all this data harvesting and stuff, it's all an unfortunate inevitability. The freedom of the information and the fact that, sorry, not the freedom, but like, private information is not really properly kept. I think a lot of companies just sort of brute force it and just, you know, try to make a product and just get the slap on the wrist later. And I'm not too sure what we can really do about it as individuals, other than to never, ever, ever give any of these sites this information. But unfortunately, we're going to get into this weird period where suddenly now governments are now pushing for the, you know, identification and stuff to use on these platforms. And for reference as well, Discord, after a week of me not identifying as an adult, suddenly identified me as an adult, and I suddenly gained access to a couple of channels that I'd locked out. But I was just like, yeah, isn't that kind of weird that, like, suddenly I'm okay after a bit of time? I can't explain why, but I now am. I'm not too sure why. But just, yeah. So, from me to you as a user, rule number 1, do not upload your government ID to any website. Please do not do that. I guess maybe. Well, actually, no. Don't even upload it to a government website, because the government website doesn't need an image of your ID. It just needs, like, a couple of numbers. Like, isn't that weird? They're going more overboard on this AI scanning for some bizarre reason, instead of just having any actual connected database or cross-reference that they can connect to. It's so weird. It's so strange. Also, oh my goodness, Ariados of the Shadow Pokemon. I'm gonna switch Entei out because Entei is gonna get whooped by, maybe not whooped by the Rhyhorn. I don't have a water type move yet, do I? Nah. I might as well send out Suicune anyways. Why not? So anyway, I think that's my big rant about the scraping and stuff. The Pirate Nation tweet mentions LinkedIn, so just please be warned. The fact that we have a source code leak for Persona, which LinkedIn is using, should highlight that you should probably not be doing this, because not because Persona uses, oh sorry, they use Persona, but because you know that these companies are going to have this problem. Every time. If you give them this information, expect the worst. Expect the absolute worst usage of your data. Because it seems to be happening a lot of the time. My general word of advice would be, any site that really does require this stuff, if you can't continue further, just don't. Just do not. I don't think it's worth it. If you want to chat with your mates, Discord isn't good enough because now it's doing all this stuff and you can't use it anymore. Switch to TeamSpeak, self-hosted TeamSpeak, or Ventrilo, or Mumble, or just use IRC or XMPP or any of these other alternative ones. You do not need to be using Discord if Discord is going to treat you like this. It's terrible. I don't like that. If the whole world ends up like this, I don't know. I guess we go underground. It's not illegal yet, but you know what I mean. It's like, oh my gosh, like. They can't make my private TeamSpeak. Glad I got in first go, jeez. They can't make my private TeamSpeak, you know, like, require ID all of a sudden. I really wanted to get Rhyhorn out of the way, but it's just not happening, is it? Well, we could attack Grovar because Suicune's going to cop it right now, but I wanted to get the Hyper Mode called. Look how little that bar goes down. This bar 100% is a... I wonder if the length of the bar or the, you know, I guess it visually looks the same, but like clearly the legendary Pokemon are harder to get out of being Shadow Pokemon than other Pokemon in this game. I'm curious if there is a setting that's manually programmed per Pokemon or whether it's based off base stat totals or something like that. I'm very curious. So, other piece of news I just wanna throw into the ring while we're yelling about AI. Microsoft calls 2026 the year of AI PCs. Their new Windows Learning Center guides. Yeah, the Pirate Nation tweet's not written correctly. I don't know what's going on with this. Guides and promotes Copilot Plus PCs for on-device AI via NPUs. Microsoft says Copilot Plus PCs, trademark, solve real problems and offer the highest standard of security. Pirate Nation often makes a bunch of these tweets, which is a bit of engagement farming. I agree with that. But like, on the other hand, it's like, no, I believe Microsoft might have said this at some point. To that I go, why? Why are we pushing the Copilot stuff so hard? Because here's a fundamental. I put a little Fetty post on this one Why, like, for all the things that people say, oh, AI is great, it's like, I think, how would I put it? There's a bunch of things AI does really well, or rather neural nets does really, really well. Certainly if you're a researcher and you can effectively train a system to identify the outputs better, because it is a heuristic system, then that's a big win. Absolute big win. Obviously, when we get to this point in time when we can model whole games and go like, hey, this thing plays games. I would love for this world when we can suddenly throw a computer at a video game just based on the inputs and the visual and maybe even the sound outputs if you really want to, and be able to just play the game. And I want to be able to, then go, hey, can you do that? And like kind of adjust to my skill level. Like don't like absolutely whoop me, but give me a good challenge or something like that. Then I can play dead games. Dead multiplayer games, and I can kind of relive how it plays like. That would be awesome. There's a bunch of really neat use cases. I can totally come up with this with neural nets. But certainly when people use the term AI, they really just mean the recent rise of language models, if anything. In this day and age of rise of language models, I ask the question, what have we actually gained? And obviously we've got stuff like ChatGPT and stuff, which I think is neat. At the core of it, ChatGPT is certainly a neat thing. But we're in this weird part where it's like, okay, well now Google results are flooded with an AI transcription, and honestly the AI summary might be worse than the top result. The top result might also be an ad, or an SEO cluster of nothing, or in many cases, now an actual AI-generated slop article. Here's an example. I looked up how to get all the records in Parappa the Rapper 2. I beat Parappa the Rapper 2, by the way. I love that game. It's great. Amazing game. Go play if you haven't. But I looked that up, and a lot of the top search results are these terrible SEO whatever sites that are purely there to maybe get the ad money, if they can get the ad money. And they just language model generated a bunch of stuff that looks okay at first. And if anything as well, the verbose answers from the AI pads out the preview at the top of the search results, so you actually don't even know that it's wrong until you click on the page and read it. It's terrible. How can you tell that it's wrong? It says there's 30 songs in the game. There's 8. There's 8 levels in the game. How did you get that wrong? Which obviously means that it's written by something that has no idea what the game's about. But now, unfortunately, there's a bunch of this stuff at the top of the Google search results, or Bing, or all these other sites. And now people are gonna, think that Parappa the Rapper 2 has 30 songs in it. Now, obviously, there could be more catastrophic things than how many songs are in Parappa the Rapper 2. But the whole point is that there's obviously 8. Like, no human has ever said there are 30 songs in the game. This is all entirely a fabricated, fact. But it's because this thing has no idea. That's why that's the case. So obviously, I guess the question is well, yeah, if it got this wrong, how much other stuff has it gotten wrong? And the answer is probably a ton. So I kind of hate it for that kind of stuff. But the one that really gets to me is especially from people using it for programming and people using it for, well, I guess really, yeah, anyone is using it to generate slop and stuff like that. And the reason why you're seeing people use it for slop is because there's, evangelists, I guess, will make the case of, oh, AI makes people 10 times more efficient, or maybe more optimistically, 3 times more efficient. They look at the numbers and they go, oh, look at that, they're pumping out 3 times more lines of code or stuff like that. Side note, by the way, lines of code is a stupid metric. Don't use that to actually, judge how good or how productive you are, because it obviously varies by the problem space, it varies by your style. You can pad it out by sheer nothingness. It doesn't even make content distinct. It doesn't care about any of that kind of stuff. So I always hate it for that. But even then, okay, or if you're saying it's 3 times just because it's the amount of stuff it pumps out, what does that mean for an end user? Maybe if this was like journalism and it pumps out 3 times more content, like by text count, yeah, I guess an end user now has to read 3 times more text, but like in the realm of software at the very least, it's an abstraction. It doesn't mean anything that you wrote 3 times more lines of code, because at the end of the day, you're delivering the one feature. So maybe if we're seeing like 3 times productivity, you think maybe shouldn't we be getting products and releases 3 times quicker then? Maybe that's the real 3 times productivity, of course, is that the whole system works so much faster. And obviously, if something... Oh, finally, a move that is not a Leer. Unfortunately, Stomp is, you know, I guess it's a normal type attack. I'm down with that, but, like... I would prefer maybe a Body Slam or something with an 80 power. Also, yeah, I'm like, yeah, we're catching Gramble here. I should probably buy some balls while I'm at it. I gotta buy some balls. What's Gramble's catch rate? 75, it's high. It's up there. Oh, that would have been amazing if it was just like a Pokeball first catch. But yeah, obviously, like, the real... Ooh. Okay, the real productivity increase from AI, or from anything, should be the increased amount of, I guess, product. And how you measure product, who knows? You know, maybe you're just measuring sales. Maybe you're just measuring, you know, like customer engagement or customer responses and stuff like that. But I feel like at the end of the day, if you think your code makes you more productive, or your AI makes your code more productive, then the obvious metric should be you are delivering features 3 times faster than you were otherwise. And this is clearly not true. I can't name a single company that has managed to pull this off unless they're a startup, unless they have no existing code base, no existing, like, metric at all. Like, obviously, let's say Anthropic doesn't really have a pre-AI baseline to compare with. So all the stuff they've written seems fine on the surface. Obviously, though, for every security vulnerability, I feel like we should mentally dock some points, because delivering a feature and having bugs, having flaws, having issues like that kind of stuff should mean, hey, did you really make the feature, or did you rush it out the door? A feature is not really feature complete if you are including bugs and stuff like that. I know an enterprise person is probably going to tell me I'm completely wrong on that front, but, like, obviously you didn't finish the job. You scribble down some stuff. Yeah, okay, maybe it gets the idea, it gets the point across. It does kind of what you set out to do. Oh. Oh. Dolphin has shouted an error at me. Sorry, that might have scared someone because all the sound stuff from a Dolphin shouted an error at me, and I said, please ignore for the session, and I hope that doesn't break anything. But Dolphin's always a bit of a weird one like that. I love your Dolphin, but sometimes it's like, oh, isn't that kind of weird that, like, I read something out of line. I'm actually curious if I'm getting memory corruption, because I was playing what was it? It forsook us. But I was playing was it Enthusia on the PS2 earlier. I'm nearly done with it. The achievement set is overboard, I tell ya. It's there for the completionists. It's there for the people who really, really love the game. But oh my gosh, the game does not ask you to do any of this stuff. Like, you don't have to actually play every single individual race in the game. There's a reason why it's on this weird calendar system. It's because it's not meant to be like you have to witness the race that happens on this specific day of the year, and you have to be building up your points such that you have enough points to do that, and also you have to have the right kind. It's never meant for that. But I experienced a weird one where the game at some point hit a massive graphical issue where suddenly textures were loading from the wrong spot on the texture atlas. This was both in software and hardware mode, and it just kind of like it just kicked in at some point. Kept applying across races. It was fairly consistent between that, but I'm not too sure if that was like the game glitching or whether that was actually my RAM having a weird hitch. I'm not too sure. but I would be concerned if it's my RAM, because we are not in the market for that. You know what? I do have a segue, though. I have a segue to CXMT has been offering... This is a Hacker News headline. Actually, it's from the CareerHerald.com. CXMT has been offering DDR4 chips at about half the prevailing market rate. CXMT is a Chinese memory manufacturer. I feel like mentioning Chinese in many tech articles is often a little bit of a derogatory term, in the sense that it implies that because it's Chinese, it's subpar. I won't say that. There's certainly a level of skepticism I think people should have with anything that is cheaper, and also anything that is more expensive. Every product should generally be scrutinized for quality. That should always be the case. But CXMT seems to be releasing stuff that does the job. It's RAM. It's like, you know, you can very easily test that your RAM is indeed doing the right thing. And also, it's RAM. You can't hide, you know, some people bring up the government backdoors and stuff. It's RAM. You really, really can't hide that stuff. Like, if you had a side-loading chip, it'd be right there on the DIMM. You could see it. And if it was part of the memory, you can't exactly convince the computer to do stuff through the memory in a weird way like that. Like, it's very odd to be able to pull that off. So, most likely, it's not doing anything shady. It's just legit. It's just memory. That's it. If you live in Australia, you can actually buy a lot of CXMT memory from, I think PCKSK sells it, but also go cheaper. Just go to AliExpress at this point. It's a Chinese product. You might as well just be going to a Chinese retailer. Is it cheap? It's not been as cheap as RAM has been in the past, but it is cheaper than what a lot of RAM you can get right now is. In the US, it might be a bit more on the expensive side. Also, CXMT has been off and on the US banned entities list for like a number of times, and no one can really tell, is it actually meant to be banned or not? Who knows? But I don't think they've banned it because of any... Also, has this been a PC and I've been avoiding it the entire time? I should probably double check in this direction. Well, not a PC, but you know what I mean. Oh, okay, well, no, never mind. Never mind, I have not been going the wrong way. It doesn't seem like it's that complex a dungeon, but it's just like, yeah, the fact I gotta keep running back. Especially for healing. The fact that there is no Pokemon Center in the building is very odd. But yeah, I do wonder whether the US will get in on this one, but obviously as well, the US does have Micron, based in Yonder, Ohio. But Micron seems neat. The only thing with Micron is that obviously they've only got so much capacity. So if it's all sold out, well, you need more competitors. Oh, what are outsiders doing? You obviously need more competitors, and that's why either you need competitor markets inside the country, which clearly needs government funding, because this is not something anyone can spin up on a whim. I feel like there's some point... I should probably swap out the front two I've got going on, otherwise Entei and Umbreon are going to be gaining a lot more levels compared to everyone else. And also Meganium is casually getting a few more levels, but I feel like I need Meganium to offset the fact that Meganium's in the low tier. Also, hi! Rain Dance! That's gonna be a bit annoying. So for reference, for the Pokemon people, if you're wondering why the electric type use Rain Dance, it's because every use of Thunder during Rain Dance always hits. It's a minor buff, but it's still a buff. So this Thunder, it will hit. There's no going about it. The crit was secondary. The crit was like, ugh, that's insult to injury on me. But okay. But yeah, and I guess this brings up this whole, like, idea of, are we getting to this weird point where it's like, suddenly, you know, like, eventually the market will somewhat refix itself, and by refix itself, I mean, it's gonna get into this weird state where eventually the supply becomes oversupply, and suddenly we'll be drowned by chips and memory made in this era. We're making lots of DDR5, or really we're technically making HBM memory, but we're making lots of this kind of memory to satisfy the needs of OpenAI, and at some point OpenAI is going to ditch all this stuff and have to upgrade their systems in a moment. And it's like, yeah, eventually it will flood the market and it will be great, but until then, we don't have it. We don't have any of this. So we got to strive by the next few years of having no commercial market for, sorry, no money to buy things. But yeah, this is a kind of weird like catch-22 where it's like, if we have no money to buy things, then most people also don't have money to build markets. They don't have money to build competitors to Micron. There is no competitor to Micron inside the US. And I don't know why the government would... I mean, I get why you want to fund them in the sense that you want them to compete on the global stage. But you can't only fund them and not fund a competitor as well, because you obviously want domestic competition, don't you? I don't know. I'm worried he's used Thunder on Suicune. Oh, yeah, he has. Oh. It's my aversion to sending out Meganium against anything, but... At least Suicune is faster than Electrode, but remember, that's Electrode with paralysis. This is slowing down his speed, and he's still faster than... Oh, he's not faster than Umbreon. Okay. So Naspion didn't get to do much, but this is good. This is good stuff. Also, for reference, I was a little worried. I was a little hesitant about going into this place, but it seems that most of the Pokemon I'm able to take out, because they're in this... Actually, well, I say they're in this, like, high 30s, but it's like, not high 30s anymore. This is level 42, 41. We're starting to get on the upper end here. Give us that Razor Leaf. Yeah! In theory, I could have used Sunny Day to maybe make Thunder miss. Because, you know, he's going to just keep using Thunder on everyone. But yeah, Umbreon's in the high tier because Umbreon's weirdly bulky. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't know, hopefully the market for things does get better. You know what I have seen though? At least in Australia, we are getting 9070 XTs for weirdly cheap. They're available for 949 Australian dollars, down from I think their launch price of either 1600 or 1500 Australian. So they're nearly half the price they launched at just over a year ago. I don't think they've gone down in the US, but definitely if you are... Ah, you're stuck! Can I not go back down the lift? I can go back down the lift. Unfortunately, you get no music. But yeah, I shall just duck back to healing. Healing and I guess saving. Gosh, I wish I knew where anything was. Is there actually one on this map? No, I really don't. Huh. What a shame. They really needed a Pokemon Center on the top floor here. Because it's just... any other news of my own? I've only got... I mentioned OpenAI. I've got one brief mention as well there. Which is Sam Altman made a weird comment very, very recently. Where he was comparing... he was at some kind of forum, and he was saying that people ask him about, well, how, you know, AI takes so much energy, like, wouldn't a human be more efficient? I'm not too sure if that's the argument that people generally make, but okay, that's what he's trying to answer. And he says, like, you know, like, if you take the total cost of AI, yeah, you know, it does take a lot of money, but like, or a lot of energy, but then you think about how much energy it takes to raise a human for 20 years, you know, and never mind all the food and stuff. And then if you count that, that's a lot of energy. So really, the fairer argument would be to compare AI inferencing just on its own with human inferencing. And then he said, and, you know, at some point the AI becomes more economical. And I don't know if I agree with that statement, because it's how would I put it? Just ignoring the first part, I feel like humans are able to think of things at very snap judgments and at fairly low, like, power levels. AI inferencing does take quite a number of joules in a way that that humans don't just burn when they're thinking of things. Humans are complex in various ways, and certainly you can train an AI to maybe be a bit more hyper-focused on a topic in a way that a human might not be as hyper-focused. Like, I kind of get that, but also, I mean, there might be an inevitability that maybe an AI will become more efficient, but I don't think it's there yet. Never mind as well that training a human is a lot cheaper than training an AI. I don't care if he says, oh, it takes like 20 years to raise a human. Okay, you don't raise a human to, like, program for 20 years. You don't raise a human to draw art for 20 years. You raise a human to be a human, mostly, for, like, 18 years of their life. And obviously there's a lot of general education, there's lots of things they'll learn in the middle, including a lot of math, a lot of English, other languages maybe, how to do construction, how to do sciences, like that kind of stuff. They'll learn a bunch of stuff in the middle, but the whole point is that they are learning how to be... Oh, hi there. Hi! The whole point is that they learn to be human beings and operate in society, and I'm not too sure. You can kind of read his statement as saying that the AI... Yeah, oh, yeah, exactly. Exactly. You can make the argument that, like... Well, not you can make the argument. The human is there for a lot more reasons than to answer a company's, like, beck and call. Let's feign attack this Kadabra. Let's get him out of the way. I would like to catch the Vibrator. This is the other one that is in the high tier, by the way. Kadabra looks so dopey in 3D for some reason. Yeah, exactly. And it feels very reductive to say, oh, you know, the AI will become more efficient than humans in that sense, because humans are not robots, and robots are not humans. And I don't think we are going to converge on that point for quite a while. And I think at the end of the day as well, like, okay, this is where it then depends. Obviously, a human is not going to do, like, Google autocomplete or even the AI overviews of things. Realistically, we are never going to get that to happen on everything if we just had humans do it. I get it. I totally get it. But it's like, that's not an energy efficiency angle, which I think the question was about energy efficiency. Yeah, it is a weird CEO statement. It is weird. Isn't it weird? It's so weird that so many AI CEOs make very weird, like, offhand eugenics comments all the time. It's like, can we just lay off the whole people don't need work kind of argument? It's like, ideally, you introduce these to make people better at their work. That's the first just ideal thing that you can do. Alright, let's try and catch this Vibrator. Eugenics, yeah, true. But yeah, no, I just want to bring that up as a weird one. I got one more story, and that is there's a bit of a movement. Because as of September 2026, this is an old story, but I'm sort of coming around to it now, and also there's been updates. Google is announced that as of September 2026, it will no longer be able to develop or people will no longer be able to develop apps for the Android platform without first registering centrally with Google. This involves paying a fee to Google, agreeing to their terms and conditions, providing government ID. Funny how that keeps coming up. Uploading evidence of a developer's private signing key, and then listing all current and future application identifiers. This is, which to some degree all of this kind of gets handled by Google Play. But yeah, it's like this is the reason why Android existed. Also, what is with the bait and switch of making open source projects? Because Android's, at least underlying core, is open source, and then a ton of companies proceed to just ruin it. They absolutely like spin it off in the worst ways possible. Obviously, open source should allow people to install, you know, they can fork Android and start doing it their own way. I'm not too sure if Graphene OS is a fork or whether they're doing their own thing in places. But the problem, of course, is that the bootloader on many phones, many Android phones, is not open source. It is specific to the... also, strength is a mean move. I mean, it's Kecleon, it's not that strong. He's got a weird ability, but he's not that strong. So I'm going to use Umbreon's turn to Pokeball, the Vibraver, and we'll Shadow Rush with the crit, hopefully, on Kecleon here. What's Vibraver's catch rate? 120. Oh, this should be easy. This should be easy. Come on. But yeah, it's like the whole... I feel like a lot of the whole point of why Android exists and why it's had its flexibility is because the core of its system was open source and allowed for people to provide modifications, and not only provide modifications but also develop against an open spec that, one, usually doesn't change, and two, is not locked down by Apple. We are just entering the Apple territory. Google, if you do indeed commit to doing this, just note, no one will use your product over an iPhone. I mean, obviously there's going to be Android devices all over the shop, but like, people are not going to lean into this in the same way that people have sort of a little bit been captured by the Apple ecosystem. Because at the very least, the Apple ecosystem can argue, you know, some homogeneity on the spec and various other kinds of features and things like that. At the cost of, you have to release through the App Store. It's always a bit painful on that one. I can't exactly reason with why Android is doing this. It just seems like a bit of a left field thing, because it's like, this is your whole product. But what's really weird as well, didn't they go to court with Epic Games about exactly this? And they lost? Because effectively this locks down Android to only allow people to release things through Google Play and then have to give Google money. They lost a court case over this. What are we doing? What are we doing? Is this continue the trend of companies are gonna do company things because the courts don't find them enough? Are we gonna keep ending up in this position? Oh, you know, they downloaded a bunch of material without anyone's permission. Also, just as a side note, the reason why Google is not suing Nvidia and instead it's a class action lawsuit by the copyright holders is because Google does not want to step on Nvidia's toes. Nvidia is selling them good product. And Google does not want to lose that customer by just suing them. Epic Games don't care. They're gonna do it. I get that. But it's so bizarre. We live in a very bizarre world, so... but that's it. That's all my stories. It's a lot. It's been a fair bit of stories. I've got games I played, but I can mention them at any point. You're too strong, little boy. Time for the Fetty stories. But yeah. Oh, I'm very heated today. I'll tell you, both in terms of staying warm, I guess, because it's been kind of sweaty warm. Let's see if we can rock Suicune at the front and see if we might get a bit more love there. I'll keep getting experience share going on. Coincidentally, something Microsoft and their CEO, or it wasn't the CEO of Microsoft, but it was Phil Spencer left. Phil Spencer, which I will famously still say is still on my Steam friends list. I wonder if that's actually like he gets to hold on to that Steam account because he hasn't logged into it for so long. I forgot when the presentation was, but it was showing off kind of some Xbox. Oh, the CEO of Xbox. Yeah, okay. But it's like specifically the Xbox division itself. I'm not too sure. I thought a part of me felt like it was a long time coming. I was like, yeah, he's been there for a while, and like usually they move on at some point. But then also, yeah, kind of came suddenly, like quite suddenly. I don't recall him announcing that he was retiring well in advance, you know. Whereas like we knew Doug Bowser was leaving, you know, quite a while ago. An officer of bond. Yeah, okay. Usually as well, when you get two people leaving at the same time, you know, you can call it coincidental, but I think there might be a bit of politics going on in the company. Also, if it's coming from the CEO, I mean, like, well, I guess there's still a subdivision of Microsoft. Who knows? Sell me those AI features in the Xbox. You know people are going to absolutely gawk whenever you hear AI suddenly get brought up in a game conference. Oh, okay, so they replaced both roles with one. I will say, though, I will reserve judgment on the new person. A lot of people on Twitter are very judgmental on this person's gaming credentials, and I feel like being a CEO of Xbox, while I really do want you to have a pulse on the gaming industry, you don't really need to be, like, a gamer to make the right decisions, if that makes sense. So people going like, oh, you know, you haven't played games for, like, more than a year. You know, we'll see what happens. The second head is the previous CEO of the Microsoft Core AI division. See, that's the part that's got me scared. That's the part that's got me a bit frightened, but again, it's like proof is in the pudding, you know. Who knows? We might see some good stuff come out of this, and we might see some terrible stuff. But certainly, a change in leadership. Also, especially for big companies, a change in leadership probably isn't going to mean anything in the next, like, few months. It is a big shakeup, though. It will be big things in various months. But yeah, I think, I mean, to be fair as well, like, you know, not to rip on Phil Spencer, but legit, what has the Xbox brand been for the past 12 years? Also, excuse me? Release the lock? Oh, okay, I think I remember this. It's literally Pokemon that I have purified. No. 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 You know, I might be downstairs. Also, sup, Elliot? Might have the answer to the code downstairs. What? But yeah, I mean, yeah, the Xbox brand is a very weird one, and not because they don't really have their own mascots, although certainly that doesn't help, but also because the Xbox console has always been on the back foot for quite a while now. It's a DNA analyzer. Oh. Okay, well, I found two of them, so you want to... Should we just guess the third one? Oh, okay, that's Crokinole. Okay, well, good news. I wouldn't have guessed Crokinole. What? This can't be used. What? You mean... Oh, it gave me the Crokinole one on the bottom. Sorry. Alright, Crokinole, Entei. Let's guess the third one. Although it's probably in that one room that I haven't gone into. Yeah, the Xbox brand is a weird one. I think, how does one save the Xbox? Number one, please make mascots for every genre you can think of. Like, I feel like that should be very obvious, but like, they are really struggling on having iconic mascots, and beyond Halo, which has sort of been on a bit of a weird trend, and they briefly had Call of Duty for a moment, and they still kind of do, I guess, but like, you know what I mean? It's like, no one cares about all the acquisitions. Yeah, because, one, they're not even console exclusive at that point. But, I'm not saying we need console exclusives, but you know what we need? Nuanced games that you... Or ways to play games. Things that make the platform all that much cooler. Obviously, Nintendo got away with it with the Switch. You know, like, if anything as well, the Switch is potentially almost about to be the greatest selling console of all time. It surpassed the DS, it's now number 2, and it might be a bit slow, but I think over the course of this year, it might actually get there. It might indeed get there, and if not, and we're not counting Switch 2, but like, who knows? Who knows? In this day and age of memory being hard to find and all this stuff, perhaps Switch 1 sales may continue just that tad bit longer. Yeah, Nintendo's got personality. They've got a ton of first-party titles that they only release on their own platforms. I looked behind me as well. I realized as well, I bought twice as many Switch games as I have Wii U games. I know the Wii U didn't last quite as long as the Switch has, but I think it's more a testament that, like, yeah, like, there weren't as many, like, Wii U games to care about. No, I've definitely got a lot of DS games. I feel like DS is probably my category of choice back in the day. But still, also, that's not self-destruct. That's the big one. Oh. Well, he's a bit sad. Yeah, the Vita suffered at the same time. Yeah, the Wii U had a problem with identity. The Vita had a problem with longevity. Never got a Switch, dropped Nintendo after the Wii U. Yeah, I mean, you can... I mean, the nice thing about the Switch is that you really don't have to, like, wait for anything. I think it's a decently evergreen console. I don't think anything's really timed in the sense that you won't enjoy, other than maybe Splatoon 2, because I don't know how many people play Splatoon 2 anymore. There are still some things I don't like about the Switch, like I don't like the idea of having to pay for online, and the fact that that is the only way to play the retro games that were previously sold to you, and on the Wii U, sometimes they're a bit more affordable, but on the Switch, it's like, ugh. Also on the Switch, it's weird that they had Wii games sold on the Wii U, but on the Switch, I guess because the Switch doesn't really support Wii remotes, it's like, well, every game has to effectively be recreated for the Switch. So obviously we'll get ones like Metroid Prime Remastered, and then the Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 re-releases, and Xenoblade Chronicles just gets a port, and I don't know how many other Wii games have been ported to the Switch, but I feel like that's the trend they're going down. They're not releasing just straight up ports. They're like, nope, we gotta go through that. Also, I just want to add as well, for the Switch 2, they've got the GameCube emulation. I mean, it's cool, but I think you download every game when you download the app. And for the older consoles, you can get away with that. Like, you can store every Nintendo 64 game in one region, I think, on the US region, in like 4 or 5 gigabytes. And obviously the service doesn't have every single Nintendo 64 game, but like, the point is that it's very feasible that you could just download every game like that. GameCube, different matter. Every game is 1.4 gigabytes. So that's 1.4 gigabytes on storage for every game that is on the system, because you can just start any of them up without having to just wait and download in the app, in the program. It's a weird one. I will still critique Nintendo for not having a web browser on the Switch as well. It's just such a strange thing to not have. At the very least, they did add a microphone to the Switch too. So you can indeed call people and talk to them instead of using your phone like a bit. I don't know what was going on there. But yeah, the Xbox can definitely be saved if you add some mascots and just make your system unique. Because the problem with the Xbox is that it feels like a weak PlayStation 5. Like, the Xbox One felt like a weak PlayStation 4, even though actually I think it was more powerful in that case. But the Xbox One then had to sort of catch up with the One X, and now we've got the Series X, and we don't have a PS5 Pro competitor, I think. We've got the 2 terabyte Xbox One X, but it's just like... Or Series X, sorry. Which, by the way, these names suck as well. It's not gaming. It's not gaming. Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not arguing with games not being, or sorry, with games being on PC. I think, more markets the better. And honestly, I like the idea of things being on PC because, again, the system has longevity and you can play it in various ways and you can modify games on PC so much easier. I think there's a lot of fun things that you can do with that. I don't know where I'm going. This siren is a bit annoying, isn't it? We'll get there. We'll get there. See, they should have added healing somewhere in this dungeon, I'll just call it, because it's just like, oh, it's a fair bit of a walk every time. So what we had Entei, we had Miss Drevis, and we had Croconaw. I was almost there on the guessing. I do remember your scrub. No way, no scrubs. He's back. He's so back. Oh, he's coming at me. Coming at me with the grabs. Onto the news. I'm gonna side beam this Graveler. We'll see what happens here. Now, for reference, I think this guy will catch up. Like, if you miss getting his Shadow Pokemon before, then he will have the Shadow Pokemon. But because this is a bit of a refight, also Magnitude 5, rip. I mean, it's not 4, but... he wish he could have done something better. Wikipedia has chosen to ban the use of archive. Today. True, I didn't have too much to say about that, but I did see that news. I think the reason, and this is 100% a valid reason, is that archive.today crashed out a little bit. I think there's a bit of malicious intent, because if you try to archive a certain, specifically a certain guy's domain, then suddenly your client, when you click archive the site, your client actually starts spamming a lot of requests to this one guy's website. His poor website. Not to say his poor website as if he doesn't deserve it, because his criticism is probably not fair. But that doesn't justify archive.today in effectively running a DDoS by, you know, getting its users to engage in spamming his website. It's no bueno. I get it. Yeah, exactly. I'm not a big fan of exposing data just because someone else has the data out there. I feel like a part of the... Oh, there's more? Okay. I knew of that part, and a part of me would go, if you just told me that, I actually do get it. I get why Wikipedia would drop support for them. And on top of that as well, it is an archive site. At the end of the day, we can just use a different archive site. Like, we're still teetering in balance. Oh, so, okay, so Wikipedia wasn't as strong as my opinion on this. Okay. I have no idea if I can hit Metachain with this. I think I can. Yeah. Because he's psychic fighting, so it's like, oh, it's both. Oh, I love Hyper Mode, because it does make your Pokemon really good. So, I'm not getting him out of there. His bar is going to go down anyways, but having him in Hyper Mode... He's meant to stop listening to me, by the way, as well. I know I only did one fight and there wasn't even a Shadow Pokemon, but I am going to go back and save. I'm not going to heal, I'm just going to save. Yeah, I'm just going to save on this one. They discover that various sites archivals from archive today. Yeah, okay. Alright. Yeah, okay. I agree with that. I 100% agree with dropping them for that, because it's like the whole point of the site should be the sanctity of the data, and obviously if the data isn't pristine, if it's not safe like that, it's over. I get that. I get that. But it is... Well, yeah, it is compromised in the same way that, like, what was it? Core.js And they did the ransomware to basically be like, oh, if we detected that your IP address was from Russia or Belarus, we delete files from your system. And it's like people were like, I was using a VPN and it just casually deleted my stuff. And it's like, this is a library used in so many things. Potacalios. Yeah, that is really weird. It is weird to do that. I'm not a bit... I feel like people, especially a lot of people, should really try to be quite agnostic with the users of their site. This should be a ground rule. Like, maybe there's, like, axioms of the internet listed somewhere where it's like, you know, generally everyone gets along if everyone follows the axioms. I think one rule is, obviously, if your tool does this kind of stuff, you know, you gotta be candid about it. You can't present archive.today as, you know, the internet's best archiving tool, especially, you know, it's in the name and stuff, and then proceed to not archive. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that does break the goodwill. So this isn't even a real person that they dox, or the right person. Not dox, but you know what I mean, like... I don't think it's fair to, like, rip on the original content or the original creator of the site. I'm not a big fan of, like, hit pieces, I guess. Like, it does feel quite accusatory just having a blog post targeting whoever made this site. It's like, oh, you know, who's this mystery person who's made this site that, you know, aligns with others? I don't know, sometimes that comes up. But again, it doesn't justify anything that he's doing in response. We did it. We got to a boss fight. Good. This disk has been scrubbed. The scrub was back upstairs. Of all data. That's it. That's done it. Wah! How did you get in without my notice? Oh, I see. You must be the much talked about Biendeo. Little did I expect to see you here. I'm in... I should give him a German accent, shouldn't I? I'm in charge of this shadow Pokemon... That's Arnold. No one must be allowed to interfere with our shadow Pokemon plan. I won't allow it. Let me acquaint you with the power of my shadow Pokemon. It is weird stuff, and it always is so annoying when people make... Well, sorry, not when people make sites, but like obviously Archive.today achieved popularity in a way that he probably didn't expect. And also, he magically got a lot of funding to pull it off. So, props to him for keeping a site as cool and maintained as that. This is a kind of awkward start, isn't it? Because it's like, oh, they're both water types. Lantern could ruin my day, because Lantern does have thunder. Well, I won't necessarily say bad people, but certainly, like, you really can't throw in the malicious intent, because that is going to haunt you forever. Like, I could... Yeah, he's going to spam thunder, because of course he is. I mean, that's okay. I don't really need a water type, but my problem is, I don't exactly have any place for Entei to show up until the very end of the fight. Actually, maybe not the very end, but just after these two, at the very least. Also, hi, spamming Rain Dance. Okay. But yeah, I don't think it's a, you know, of course, it's not a good thing for this to have happened, and I hope he... Oh yeah, no, it is newsworthy. I think it's important as well to highlight to people, if you have used archive.today, now's the time to start using a different service. Unfortunately, things archived on archive.today can't be re-archived on a different site if the original site is not up. Although you could archive the archive.today site if they let you do that. I'm not too sure if they will, but you could do it. So hopefully, out of goodwill, archive.today could allow other archive sites to archive it. Maybe that'd be fair game. Yeah, okay, so slightly good on it. This is Altaria, Dragon Flying. What can I use against Dragon Flying? I always keep forgetting about this one. Nothing that I have. Like, absolutely nothing. But certainly not grass, and certainly Psychic is okay, so I might as well just start clearing this out, maybe. Back to gaming. It did. I saw the Triforce update. It's a good fun read. And it's a big update in terms of the fundamental. I'm actually surprised that they said at the end of the day it was about 8,000 lines. It's a lot of lines to merge in one go. Like, my contribution to Dolphin was, I think it got smushed down to about 900 lines. But it was like, yeah, the more things you touch... Yeah, this Ice Beam is going to unfortunately ruin my day. Yeah. Oh, it's not too bad, but still. Oh yeah, it needs a lot of scrutiny, and on top of that as well, it's not something that you can easily test, and that always is a killer with merging any kind of feature. Obviously, you can put in the games and emulate them, and by put in the games, I mean, you know what I mean. It's just like, you tell someone the games, through some means, they will find a way to play it, but it's still like, you know, like, you gotta connect two and two. You gotta somehow look at the code and go, okay, does that make sense for what they're doing? And unfortunately, every Triforce game does require some niche looking at in order to understand. But fortunately, as the article says, there's only 9 of them. Okay, no. Because I need Espeon to live just so I can take out the Golbat here. I could use Ampharos, that's probably not too bad. Actually, I could use Ampharos for both of these. But let's start using Body Slam, and hopefully Psybeam takes out this Golbat in one go. Oh, there's 13. Sorry. Were there like multiple games under the same kind of name? Yeah, Wing Attack might ruin my day a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, Key of Avalon. Yeah, there's a couple that are like that, but... You know, it's a good effort, and certainly it's a good first go. Yeah, like, I mean, that one was tricky because it's like it needs touchscreens and also net play supporters a bit here and there. I completely get why. Trivial Pursuit. It's not the move you use. Yeah, I mean, there's always bits, but I guess one thing that kind of helps is that many of the games are somewhat based on existing games, or they're similar to existing games. This fight's going at least a bit easier than maybe the other boss fights, even though, of course, he's level 48, so he is a bit higher level. Yeah, most people will be interested in those two. Or 3, I guess. Altaria is definitely a bit of a doozy, but I don't think Altaria actually has anything too mean other than Ice Beam on Meganium, which is not fun. But it's like by this point, I've got Entei, and Entei is not... is not weak to any of the stuff. It's just like, get past the fire types and you're good. We could just Stomp. Oh, the Confuse Ray is kind of annoying. I have used RPCS, sorry. I don't use it a ton, but I use it as a bit of a reference to just sort of gauge, if anything, as a PS3 noteworthy feature, and or we're judging Guitar Hero stuff. This will be against... Yeah, I was like, why are you using this against Entei? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Really? Really? We got that one. Okay. Honestly, the Golbat would probably be more annoying. So I'm going to target the Golbat with Secret Power. Ah, very nice. Isn't it weird as well that we're still getting there with Xbox? Like, it's just not there yet. So, anyways, remember when I said reminder to get more balls? Let's hope for the best, because I've got to get more balls. That's fine, but this is gonna be an interesting one. Obviously, of course, we had to have Raikou in this one. I was thinking Zimu, but yeah, Xenia as well. But the good thing, at the very least, is Altaria is almost dead anyways, so I can just take out Altaria. The third legendary, yeah. Isn't it weird that like they get drip fed across the game like this, instead of just actually in, you know, a proper scenario. And if anything as well, if you're a 3rd gen like owner, also yeah, using a I really do want Entei to stop being frozen. I think it was 2 to 5 turns, so it is a bit of stuff, bit of turns. But yeah, hopefully we can drag Raikou down a bit. And obviously, again, Raikou does have... yeah, he's going to start spamming Thunder, because he can. Oh! The lists don't include online-only games in the intro, loadable. I don't imagine there'd be a ton of online-only games on the PS3. Certainly a decent number, but yeah, I'm like, yeah, no. If you're going to ignore them, yeah, I get it, yeah. You know, I might as well just start throwing balls at this point. Let's start normal. I've got enough Ultra Balls, so we should be okay here. But I think this warrants just an extra secret power, just to drag him down a bit more. So obviously Raikou is going to be a hard catch, again, as always. But weirdly, Raikou is only level 40. I mean, the same level as the other legendaries, but it is kind of curious that now Raikou isn't... You know, he's not in line with this other trainer's Pokemon. I was frozen today. So obviously if Raikou hits me with a physical attack on Ampharos, then he'll also be paralyzed, which would be nice. 62 left in intro, 3 loadable. Most of the games are Pokemon Move. Pokemon Move? PlayStation Move. Got Pokemon on the brain, I wonder why. Yeah, I'd prefer not to deal more damage. I know I'm throwing more Pokeballs, but I'll wait. I'll wait on this one. This guy's got a very weird hairdo, though, I'll tell you that. One of the loadable games, though, it's a Mercury game. Oh my goodness. And also, Thunder's only got 5 PP, doesn't it? So you really can't spam that often. Is it 5 or is it 10? Let's double check. It's 10. What are the moves that have 5? They're really low, aren't they? I know of them. I'm blanking too much on more details. Wow! That was a lot easier than the other ones. And the fact I used a Pokeball on that one. I think that was easier than, that might have been easier than the A-Palm at the beginning of the stream. That was really easy.
Your struggle to get here was all in vain. The shadow Pokemon we produce have already been moved elsewhere. And that, of course, includes the ultimate shadow Pokemon I created for the boss.
Boss. And then he runs off. But, you know, that went much better. And now we got a data ROM. Nintendo doesn't want me to hold the ROM. What's TM26? It's the one before Return, but I've forgotten which one it is. Earthquake. Ooh, nice move. Very nice move. And we've casually ended up here. Fade to black unlock. There we go. Very nice. But I guess we've explored this whole place now. It served as a dungeon. It very much was a dungeon. And we have explored through it. Probably most of the time was spent just catching things. Oh, I got an email as well. 71% playable is very cool though, yeah, definitely. Hi, this is Ned. If you find any data at the Shadow Pokemon Lab, please bring it to me in the under. I'll be waiting. Okay, sure. Well, that's where we need to go next. And this will hopefully introduce the next area. I'll keep the stream going for a bit, because we're not at the 2.5 hour mark yet. So let's head to the underwear. I always used to call it that. Oh my gosh, music. I've missed it. A Rockman Battle Network Ketai game, sorry. I don't know about this Rockman thing. No, I know. Mega Man. It's the thing though, okay, out of franchises that I've barely played games for, Mega Man is one of them. I've played the first 2 on the NES, I've played the first 2 X games, and I've played somewhat Mega Man 9. And I've also played Mega Man 5 on the Game Boy for some reason. Has a translation. Ooh. So if we take this across, we head back over to the to this guy, because he was in here, I think. I think it was in here. Where is this real game tower anyways? Rip the lost media. Is this guy chilling in here? You the man?
Oh, Biendeo, how did it go to find any data?
Oh, look, the data.
Oh, this looks interesting. Let's scope it out right away. Beep boop, beep boop, beep boop. Oh, hey, this data ROM appears to contain a list of shadow Pokemon that have been made so far. Oh, but no, it looks like they wiped the data.
Well, okay. I will just retrieve it. Well, okay then, sure. D4 Enterprise announced they want to put their Egg console series on old Japanese PC game re-releases on Steam. Oh, that's neat. I've liked what they've done, obviously as well, you know, price of games, but they don't, it's not $30. Yeah, I'm okay. What if I tell her I'm not okay? No, I'm not okay. Okay, sure. I think that's really all we needed to see them for. But yeah, I think that mention of Real Game Tower has inspired us to find a new place. Also, you might be wondering what the U disc is for, because we've used the F disc to go forward and the R disc to go right. Dang it, Hydlide 3. Hydlide might be one of the worst games I've ever played. Just the first one. I haven't played any of the rest. But yeah, this is such a curious like direction, because it's like, oh. This is here just for this item. The Time Flute. It was hiding here the entire time. How cool is that? Also, for some odd reason, it's in the items, but it can summon Celebi, but you can't do it now. You can't do it now. It's for later. Yeah, I do wonder. I think they do get better as they go along, although I'm not too sure if Virtual Hydlide was well received. But no, the first Hydlide is a hideous game. It just feels like it really is a poor man's RPG, and it's kind of early on, and I get why it's not that, you know, fleshed out, but it's like, it's not fun to fight things because it's an absolute, like, luck roll. You can't heal unless you wait, which seems very odd. Like, this isn't an MMO. There is no incentive in making me wait. It just wastes my time. There's no battery backup. You have to password rely on everything, although it is nice that you can save in RAM so that if you don't turn off the console, then at least you get a quick way to save. And I played the NES version. The fact that nothing scrolls in the game, it feels very, very static and stationary, which is a bit odd as well. I think the NES version might be one of the better ones, but who knows, maybe it's not the best. I think I remember seeing someone show off, I think, the PC-88 version, and it's like, oh boy, there's like no color on anything. Like, at least the character sprite is somewhat engaging. We finally finished work on that gigantic tower, but whew, it took a long time. A new Puyo Puyo. So now, if we go to the construction site, it's now Real Game Tower. Which is indeed, I think this is the end of the game. I know I said that the thing was the last dungeon. It's technically because we hadn't, you know, we had seen this, but we hadn't really seen this. It is nice though, the crystal pseudo-wudos really makes it. So, hi, how you doing? We've been expecting you. Now please, do go in. Wow. Hopefully there's a save. Oh, nope, there is no save in here. Well, left, right, or center? I'm going left. So, Real Game Tower is filled with lots and lots of there. How you doing? We'll battle right away. Okay, sure. But yeah, as the final dungeon, you are conscripted to lots and lots of refights. Although this one might actually not be too bad. Because I'm like, well, you got Loudred, you don't have Exploud still. Ludicolo's a bit mean, as always, but... I don't know, we'll see how we go. We'll see how this goes. Also, I forgot to put Raikou on the team. I probably should have done that. Although on the flip side, it does mean I actually have electric-type attacks. So, there's that. I'm not too sure who's going to be meaner. Probably... I don't think Ludicolo actually would be as mean, so I'm going to be mean to Loudred. Or I could use Reflect. Yeah, let's use Reflect, actually. Let's just build a bit of a team barrier for the turn. Porypora Trainer made to be used in nursing homes. Oh. Listen, I dig whatever Sega's doing, because I feel like they've got a good grasp on what is the longevity, which is weirdly to pump Persona in places. Every time I'm like looking at like which games on various systems sold a lot of copies, and it's like Persona never was a seller until the PS5. until Persona 5. Sorry, not the PS5, but once Persona 5 later had like love and stuff like that, then it was big. Giga Drain would be a little mean. Actually, Giga Drain is going to be mean. Ouch. Oh. But the problem is, a Ludicolo certainly is going to have a water type attack, so I can't just switch to Entei and call it a day. I mean, like, Persona 5 looked cool, but like, it didn't. I don't think it sold. You know, I think it sold much more in later years than it did in its first year. It's a weird one like that. Alright, Golduck is such a weird choice. I guess, no, Mirabee didn't even have a Psyduck. Mirabee had 4 Ludicolos and then the Shadow Pokemon that I caught. So I don't know where on earth this Golduck came from, but sure. Oh, I'm probably gonna copy on this one. Maybe I should have switched out, yeah. Maybe I should have. That's okay, we can rely on Oldie Faithful. Fun fact, I haven't played any Persona games, so no, I was going to say no spoilers. Also, I love how I said Old Faithful and then I proceeded to not switch to Umbreon. That's fine, because that's all I want to do. Oh, he's got Surf. Ah. Also, Golduck's model, can I just add, is really weird looking. It's so weird looking. And I think it highlights that some Pokemon had some visual upgrades from Pokemon Stadium, and some of them just did not at all. I did see the Pirate 64. I did see that. It looks very, very neat. And I'm actually very tempted to play around with it and see if I can make something very, very basic. Because I always still aspire to, like, make my own game of some kind. And I know making it in for an older console might seem like it's quite restricted. But then it's like, I don't know, making it restricted actually enables you to make something that's consistent, I guess, with the console, if that makes sense. I'm a big fan of WarioWare DIY for that one. I feel like I made some alright stuff on that one, even though none of it was popular. I couldn't draw art, that was my problem. So, alright, so Mirabee has taken out 3 of my Pokemon, and I've got to deal with... No, 2 of my Pokemon, but I still got to deal with this, which is a doozy and a half. Here's the thing, though, as well. If I get my butt whooped, you know where I can go? Not necessarily here, but there's a couple of other training places for me to be able to go to. Meganium probably will be my better bet, but yeah, we're in a bit of a tight spot, because here I am saying, oh, these guys aren't too bad, and it's like, well, they got strong moves, and they're also fully evolved, and I'm not having fun times dealing damage, apparently. Fans are making a reimagining of Mega Man X6 called Mega Man X Viral Nightmare. This nightmare's gone viral. I can't believe I selected the wrong Ludicolo. Seriously, it's the one on the bottom, it's not the one on the right. Ugh. Again, I haven't played a Mega Man game in a long time, so I'm just like, okay. I don't know any of these these systems. This will be hype for the people who know Mega Man. You know, an Eager Raptor goes, oh boy, it's a Mega Man. That's me. Is that on the PS2? X6? I remember there was some, I don't even want to say early 3D because it's like, well, it's PS2, but like various 3D Mega Mans, I feel like were not a PS1. Oh, was it X7 that was on the PS2? Yeah, okay. X7's the one where he doesn't know what he's fighting for. That's the one I know of. Excuse me, Hyper Potion. See, yeah. Listen, I like him again, but it's like, oh my gosh, I can't get through these Ludicolos fast enough. But the diving is kind of annoying, isn't it? Ironically, I could use Sunny Day to ruin that day, so I'm gonna actually use it. Oh, it's from X4. Oh, yeah. Okay. Just because at least Sunny Day will make it so the dive doesn't do as much damage. And I don't seem to hit as hard now that I'm like thinking about it. Ice Beam is still problematic though. Oh. Two big news. The biggest of news. Don't need to use Sunny Day again. We need to get rid of Ludicolo. Oh my gosh, the tiniest bit of health left. We might be able to get rid of Mirror B. Isn't it weird that Mirror B does not have the music playing, by the way? So that's curious. Hopefully Meganium's getting some good love here. Armaldo is a bit of a mini zucchini Pokemon. Hopefully he shouldn't be too bad. But unfortunately, I mean, he's not really... Well, he doesn't resist that many types. I think it's only normal and poison, so like, you know, it's fine. But he's not exactly it's not exactly weak to anything that I'm that good at. Also, if I use Confuse Ray on him, he's got a high attack stat, I think, so him hitting himself. Coast Farms posted a bunch of... I did see that there was new details, but I didn't actually see what the new details were. I think they're making an org, aren't they? Like an actual, like, official body to to continue the process in government, which is actually very nice. I'm glad that's taking much more, you know, getting even much more traction. Although I would like to see a law start to show up at some point. Because, here's the thing as well. Since the Stop Killing Games thing actually did pass, or at least, like, sorry, not pass, there's no legislation passed, but, like, since it has indeed achieved some success, I'm actually curious if game companies are now a bit afraid of doing this. Yeah, 2 NGOs. I mean, that's good that they're getting a bit of a footing. Hopefully as well, you know, just because it's an NGO doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be 100% foolproof, so keep the scrutiny up. But I think it'll be very neat to continue watching Stop Killing Games keep getting initiative, because I very, very much would love to see the games not being killed. Oh, please don't be using it on Entei. Oh, you're using it on Entei right off the bat. Ugh. This is such a doozy. I could have Fire Blast, try and do some love here. Yeah, the fact that, like, you know, there's probably an existing law that's being violated, certainly. Like, I guess it's hard to point to exactly which one. Oh, that's good that we're getting, you know, success there. Oh my gosh, Ludicolo. See, my problem is I can't exactly get Entei to survive this in any other way. So I'm gonna have to rely on the cheap strat. I'm sorry, fellas. We are indeed conceding to using a potion. Super potion might not make me survive it, so I'm gonna use a hyper potion. But like, I don't know. We're at this point in the game. We might as well. Amaldo could still be a bit mean because Rock Slide is not a fun attack. Especially for Entei, actually. And then, now there's also going to be a dive. Oh, I might be really cutting this one fine. I did stop the sunny day, so at least with that. Spanish Lawyer is making a 500-page long site. Oh my goodness, jeez. Let's see if we can get Ludicolo out of the way, because he is going to be... Oh, okay, nice. Let's see if this Fire Blast gets rid of the Amaldo. Come on. Heck yeah. Woo. Well, that's one fight out, I guess. But I'm an awesome dancer, but I can't win in battles. Well, you know, sucks to suck, I guess. What a bit of a doozy, though, isn't it? Have this! The red id badge. Okay. And then you ran away. Oh, there we go. Now I can move. To give more context of what happened, the debate happened. Most MPs that showed up were very supportive of stop killing games. I think it's... right up until the government said they had a statement in which they said, these are all great points, we love your enthusiasm, we're not interested in regulating company. Yeah, okay, I hate that argument, because it's just like... how would I put it? I mean, on the one hand, I do think that gamers are... How would I put it? Gamers are dumb if they are buying games that get taken away. But also, the companies are misleading them. You know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't... How would I put it? It's a bit... It's like dealing with an abusive person if it's like it keeps happening with the same company. You should expect every Ubisoft game to be forcefully ripped away from you because it has happened before now. Like, that's what I mean by, like... It's a bit on you for constantly buying Ubisoft games when they have done this in the past, and will continue to do this. But on the other hand, you don't buy games for this to happen, and it shouldn't have happened in the first place. Like, it's on you for the repeated bullying of it, because if everyone realized after the first one and then never bought a Ubisoft game, then problem solved. We wouldn't have to worry about stopping killing the games. Because Ubisoft would be bankrupt already, as opposed to almost. Let's see, what's to the right? Actually, you know what's a... Hold on, before I go right... well, yeah, but... no matter how passionate local MPs are, the government is completely overtaken by this neoliberal free market capitalism BS. How would I put it? I think there's more to it than that, and I would also, yeah. It's your doom! What a classic spot right there. He is bopping though. Yeah, it is. I wouldn't. It is cooked. I think a lot of countries are cooked if they do aspire to the whole everyone is unregulated kind of angle. because it's like, well, obviously we have regulations to protect people from things. I don't like the idea of companies having absolutely no recourse for this kind of stuff happening. Certainly there are things we can, like, not to say everything should be regulated, but, and honestly, I do err on the side of, it's not like the government exactly is going to do things better, but the whole point is that the population wields the government to force companies to not screw the people over. The government should cooperate with companies such that people don't screw the government over, and companies should sell things smartly to people so the government doesn't screw them over. I don't know, maybe I just said the same thing 3 times. But you know what I mean? Like, the whole point is that we have 3 systems where each arm has direct control over the next one in that triangle. The government really can't stop people from doing things that, like, on the scale. It really can't. But it can totally stop the big companies that kind of drive big industry, because the companies need to be making money somehow. And obviously, like, government should be entirely beholden to the population. In reality, it isn't. And in no Western country is that the case, because I feel like a lot of Western countries, people are like, I can't, like, my candidate never makes it in. Although, to be fair, in Australia, we are about to, like, completely get rid of, actually also in the UK, they're about to really throw out their, conservative parties. Both ours and the UK one are, cooked in that definition. But in the UK, yeah, exactly. I don't like the idea of just because people, how would I put it, just because the government doesn't want to do it. Like, to some degree, I think the government should overrule public sentiment if, of course, like, it's not a good idea. I remember, it was a politics take. I remember there was when Trump got elected the first time, I remember there was actually one of these, like, 100,000 signature things. It got passed to just ban Trump from entering the country at all. And obviously, I think people can look at that and go, yeah, that's a bit silly, ain't it? But they had to talk about it. And obviously, it got 100,000 signatures. And therefore, it's like, well, they had to talk about it. Obviously, yeah, like, don't ban the United States president from visiting your country. I don't think there's anything to be gained by doing that. Just because a loud number of people ask you to debate it doesn't necessarily mean it actually has to happen. But on the other hand, the merit of the argument, like, if anything as well, the fact that they agreed to everything and then they just said they weren't interested, at least in the quote, if that's an accurate quote. But, like, if they just said, oh, we're not interested, that just seems so dismissive, and it's like, wow, why did we elect you? Also, hi, this must be a really lonely room to be in. There's no windows. I mean, maybe it's glass on the top, but it kind of looks like it's underground based on everything around it.
Oh, ha, ha, ha. Your luck ran out when you showed up before me. Your stab at adventure's gone on long enough.
This guy might kick my butt. We'll see. I didn't switch my party again, did I? No. Mostly joking lawmakers, when asked to make new laws, are actually pursuing an agenda of lawlessness right now. I'll never understand it. I don't think I'll fully understand it. You got the cash, the Whiz Cash. Whiz Cash is incredibly vulnerable to grass type, so I'm gonna actually do a switch out to Meganium on that front. But I will keep Espeon out because we'll rock a Reflect on this one. Also about the UK. Well, good thing we wasted Fortress using Protect, because I would have actually gone after Impulse. Probably would have gone after him. Continuation of the famous Sega UK scandal. The Earthquake is gonna ruin my day otherwise if it weren't for Reflect. Still a bit of a mean attack, isn't it? So, alright, oh, did that just hit? Oh. I shouldn't have hit Reflect again, whoops. At least Razor Leaf hitting both, but it's not going to do much against Fortress. Like, really not that much. Also, again, are we dealing with just, like, Protect spam? Protect spam, Sand Attack spam, they both know Earthquake. Like, what are we doing here? I do remember Gamers Nexus, I've heard of them. They're making a documentary on the Sega debacle. I don't know really that much about what's going on with Sega, so... Oh my gosh, I can never get anything past this guy. Come on, take out this Whiz Cash. Gosh, Quad's weakness really isn't that much, ain't it? So I really got no love out of Espeon on this one. Rip Espeon. Big rip. Fortunately, I don't think he's got any fighting type Pokemon, so I don't really think I'd be winning anything on that front. But still, it's like, that's not fun. The one where Sega used the police to illegally seize the guys legally owned Sega development kits and prototype. Oh! I remember hearing of that story, but I didn't look that much further into it, unfortunately, sorry. Well, we might as well use this. Oh boy, you've got the Hyper Potion. Please don't be using Protect in this turn. Okay, he didn't use Protect, because Protect has priority. But oh boy, this Fortress is going to be very in the way, and maybe I need some levels to balance it out. Because I was going to say, for reference, we need to go through Pyrote Town's building again to fight that boss that was too strong the first time. Now it should be fine, so... Well, yeah, I guess I will watch a doco soon. Yeah, Umbreon should be much bulkier through these earthquakes. Also, Rip Whiz Cash. It's very sad. Very tired of these Protects, though, I'll tell you that. Goodbye, Whiz Cash. Cash, money, Whiz Cash. Alright, Flygon is mean. I'm not a big fan of Flygon in terms of, like, typing, because it's just mean against me. I think Meganium is going to get absolutely whooped because Flygon has... I think Flygon's got a flamethrower, so I'm not going anywhere near that. Honestly, though, Fortress ain't dealing much damage, so I might as well just attack Flygon instead. Just leave Fortress as a bit of dead weight on the team. Especially when he keeps using Protect all the time. Ooh, Sunny Day. Yeah, I know exactly what he's going for here. 150 consoles. Ouch. Yeah, that's not fun. I guess, yeah. If it is as he says it is. Also, this is not going to hit Flygon, because Flygon's flying, so... So I need to get rid of Flygon quick, because otherwise these earthquakes are going to continue to ruin everyone's days. I could use Confuse Ray. Nah, I'll just keep using Feint Attack. Again, I do wish I had something a little stronger against this guy, but that's fine. He's already burnt one Hyper Potion. I'm not sure if he's going to burn two. Yeah, okay, so he's doing the strat. He's doing the strat. I knew he had Flamethrower. Unfortunately, he's got Solar Beam. So, yeah, in the same way that Rain Dance makes Sunny Beam, or Rain Dance makes Thunder hit every time, Sunny Day makes Solar Beam work in one turn. Guess who doesn't have Solar Beam? Guess who's been waiting for Meganium to learn this move? A judge ordered the transfer of my HRA claim to the admin court. I eagerly awaited the permission. Also, because he's ground type, electric doesn't do anything, so yeah, we're just we're sitting pretty. Fire doesn't really solve the problem either, so I've just got to hit him with like just very normal attacks. Although Fire Blast would be strong stab and also under the Sunny Day effect, so I don't know, maybe it actually is worth it to just go with it. He's going to use Earthquake because it's going to take damage on it. Oh my gosh! Yeah, maybe he is a bit off limits on me. He is higher level than Mirror B as well, just remember that one. Yeah, I might just call this fight early, because I'm looking at this going, oh, you know, I got no bet against these two attackers. And what have we done? We've only cleared one Pokemon. We've only cleared the Whiz Cash. Come on, deal a lot of damage to that Flygon. Yeah, it's alright. But Flygon is a meanie zucchini, I'll tell you that one. They're all meanie zucchinis. I mean, the fact that he's got a Solar Beam, the fact that... Yeah, no. It's over. I'll just restart the console on that one. Restart the console. Alright. I'll show off one other thing, because I guess we're sort of near the end of the stream time anyways. But I will show off one other thing, because we do have... I mean, this is the last dungeon. We're literally doing the refight of all the old bosses. So, we're obviously dealing with some of the toughest trainers in the game at this point. But let's see if we can get there quick. My last copy paste. That's kind of interesting they gave us Nexus as sitting on the story. Like, not like sitting as in he hasn't released it, because he does a lot of stuff. Like, I'm always surprised he's just got something in the bag. He's ready to release it whenever he does. I always find Gamers Nexus Steve, or at least the publication rather than the individual, somewhat a bit alarmist about a lot of things and rather snarky. But also, oh my gosh, man, he does say things that does need to be said, if that makes sense. I wonder if, like, saying things ad infinitum in the way he does is as effective as if he just went and said them in individual pieces. Maybe it's the reach. Maybe it's the fact that you make a very long video about it. Always helps out. But I love the long docos. I love the Chinese GPU smuggling one. So yeah, so if I sneak in, do I have to refight various people? I am very curious because it seems very odd. It's a very odd story. You know, like, Sega obviously did this under some guise of... Well, sorry, not Sega obviously did this, but Sega is apparently doing this. And somewhat allegedly, I guess we'll also add that one. Obviously, it's got proof, evidence of stuff that, like, oh, you know, court filings that Sega did it, but, like, it seems odd to me, because it's like, what is the gain here? Like, the easy thing I can keep pointing to, every single time someone has a game company go up against them, and by the way, you know, we've had Nintendo crack down against emulators again, like in a bit of another wave. They've gone against various, you know, emulator forks that existed. But, like, at the very least, I can point to emulator forks as obviously Nintendo would suffer damages because emulators do indeed draw some people into using them instead of buying the products. That's why the easy thing I say is, you know, don't emulate things that you can buy. You know, like just don't even go to the temptation on that one. Because the easy thing for me is, the easy thing for me is that obviously, hold on, get to my point. Obviously, these companies would argue that what they're doing, you know, is saving them from damages, or like what you're doing is causing damage to the company, which effectively is lost sales. And so, obviously, in this case, I look at it and I go, "What are the lost sales?" Like, I'm not too sure what's going on here, so I don't know. We'll see there. But yeah, is Sega in some trouble? Oh, I mean, something is very odd going on there. I can't exactly explain what or why, but they're doing something weird, so we're going to move Ampharos out. Unfortunately, sorry for you, Ampharos, even though I know you are a good one. But I don't know, I'd maybe trust Raikou a tad bit more. At least when he gets rid of his shadow stuff. I did read the last comment. The guy's alleging stuff, so I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. That's my problem, is that effectively we've heard this guy's end of the story, and certainly stuff has happened, but I'd like to see more. And I guess if he's taking it to court or something like that. Yeah, I read the stupidest part one, yeah. I didn't read it out loud, but you know what I mean. It's so weird you gotta fight everyone in this place again. Do I actually have to... It's... Actually, what's really weird is that before I could go down the lift, none of these people had, like they didn't do refights and their Pokemon weren't level up. Meanwhile now, I think every time I go downstairs, that guy is going to challenge me to a fight. It's really weird. Actually, I could be taking the lift up. What am I doing? I could be skipping half this place. Will they let me take the lift up? Maybe. Oh no, the door only goes one way, does it? Yeah, it's a bit cursed. I'm gonna be here for a while, aren't I, Ben? Yeah, maybe I'll just call it there and we'll work our way through here, get some levels. They're not high level Pokemon, and they're certainly not evolved, but I think the speed of which you can clear through these... I mean, obviously, I don't think it's in Sega's best interest to... Jeez, by the way, kill the Carvana. I haven't even had my turn. Is that gonna hurt the Barboach in the process? No, it didn't. But, I mean, you can... The reason why the company isn't giving a statement is because it's not obliged to. Obviously, I don't think anything it's gonna say about this or even bringing any attention to it is gonna be a good thing, but certainly... They're not making a statement because they don't have to right now. And obviously, it's a legal thing. They're going to look at it in court. I don't think we're going to see anything from their end at all until the court case, basically. You're not going to have any spokesperson even mention it, especially because it's against an individual. Just like you don't have really any spokesperson from Nintendo talk about any emulator stuff. Yeah, it's just how they do business. And all I can say is, I guess... keep a tab on this. We'll read more into this because, you know, what is being claimed is rather strong, and again, it doesn't sound right. As in, if it is exactly for this reason that they seized the stuff because they went, oh, like, you're illegally distributing things or whatever, then it doesn't seem right. It's like, well, companies shouldn't be able to seize property like that, but somehow the UK courts allowed it. So I don't know, there's something weird with the legal system that's allowed Sega to pull this off. And that's why it seems so weird, is because we have to rely on, I guess, malintent, and specifically malicious intent. We have to rely on that from Sega's end to somehow destroy this guy's work for some reason, because I can't point to damages as being, you know, a culprit. And also on top of that, we have to point at misconduct, or at least some sort of abuse of the system of the UK courts, because somehow Sega were able to find out this information, send police after this guy, and get the stuff seized, which in turn is probably just gonna, like, spook him from even doing anything in the future. The effect is done. Like, that is not what the legal system should be used for at all. Obviously, of course, if it's like, oh, he's actively committing a crime, we need to have the stuff seized. On paper, I get that, but then it's like, well, but again, what are the damages? He's being sued for this kind of stuff. It needs to be, like, what is happening here? You can't have a company call up an individual and then just, like, immediately have his stuff seized. You know what I mean? Without going through a legal process. So to that, now that rings out to me as, well, was there a legal process? Did we already have this kind of stuff? Oh, or, sorry, did the UK have this stuff? I don't know. So, there's a lot of weird points in it. And that's why I'm not saying I don't believe this guy, but there's a lot of, like, weird... How would I put it? It seems very odd that the situation has ended up this way, and certainly, you know, we're pointing to at least two parties having issues. Shockwave. Yeah, it's kind of annoying that we gotta work our way through this whole place without copping it. That's going to be the fun part. It shouldn't be too bad, because, I mean, most of these Pokemon were unevolved. And even though they're going to be... Yeah, hopefully... Yeah, I do hope that there's more stuff in this, and on the other hand as well, I do hope for more positivity out of, or more positive things out of, one, the world, and two, these kinds of stories, you know what I mean? Because, like, a lot of the things, and especially, I guess, I'll sort of mention this, there's a lot of doomerism in the world these days, some of which is, you know, kind of the bleakness of things that are out of our control. Obviously, the AI takeover of the world and all that stuff, and I always have somewhat negative thoughts about how it's being handled, and it's not even like the idea of it taking over the world, it's just like, oh my gosh, like, I would prefer to be able to spend my money on things that I can use instead of never owning anything and having to be happy with that, you know, like, that's the problem that we deal with, where it's like things have gotten worse, and I want things to go back in some way. Obviously things like, I always mention the housing market and stuff like that, and it's like, oh, can we get an improvement on that? Hopefully soon. But on the other hand, it's like, you know what's, like, sometimes cool, you know, like, people are cool. There's a lot of cool people we're talking to, and certainly a lot of people are in the same boat when it comes to topics like this. And on top of that, there's cool games. There's cool things, pieces of media that we can still enjoy. People are still making cool things. I saw one on Hacking News. Let me try to find it real quick. There was a tool someone made called Mikasa. And it's a nice little command line tool. He's written in Go, which just stores data in an SQLite file. I never know how to say it. I always say SQLite, even though there's only one L. It's just a terminal UI where you track things and you put quotes and projects and incidents and stuff like that, and you track things going on. Because, yeah, exactly. And it's a neat little tool. It's, you know, there's nothing complex about it, there's nothing too weird about it, but it's the fact someone made it, it does his use case, and he's showing it off to the world, and it might fit your use case. And that's the kind of stuff I find ultra neat. I don't remember the Celio. I think it used to be a Spheal before. Maybe he has evolved. Maybe he has evolved. But that's the kind of cool stuff that I love seeing people make and release, is anything that, you know, really fits their needs. I do wish that, like, making tools like this, some people are really good at front-end tools or command line tools. I'm very slow. I'm great at making a program that runs and does a thing, but I really need to practice building tooling to build up to speed. Actually, to be fair though, I can make something that uses like argparse in Python, so it's like flexible enough that, you know, a user can indeed use it, but hey, you know, command line tool, that kind of stuff is awesome. And the one I really need to work on is web front ends. I can get there eventually, but I'm not fast on it, so. Ouchies, that's Snorunt's Dorunt. That's him, he's dead. But yeah, I feel like going through fights like this actually would result in quicker level ups because I'm able to take out the Pokemon so quickly. Because battles take so long, because they're all double battles and all that stuff. Let's switch out Suicune, even though I know he's in the party, but you know, let's get Raikou a bit of front of the party love. They can dance with elegance. Gosh, it is a long, again, Seadra and Gloom, actually. I'm making my way to the next PC, which might take a bit of time. But then I also wanted to have a crack at that one boss fight, so maybe it is a 3-hour stream. I can probably take out this Gloom real quick. But I've never actually gone through this area. This whole area is completely on the side, it's completely optional. And honestly, I don't think anyone exactly even notices it, because I don't think many walkthroughs, including the one, I think I've got like the Primer Guides one from the time, I don't think it even mentions this, because there's no Shadow Pokemon at the end of it. There's no reason you really have to rush out and go down this path, but If you're playing for retro achievements, there is a boss fight at the end of it all. An exclusive boss fight. One that was weirdly available to me earlier, as you saw at the beginning of, I think, stream 4. Was it last week's stream? Or maybe it was stream 3. Yeah, it was probably stream 3. But it's like, yeah, I wandered through this whole place. None of these trainers had reset, but obviously the boss at the end was still there and in the level 40s. So... But I think that it's probably good experience to just get your Pokemon leveled up a bit and just clear through some trainers without needing to worry about catching anything, you know? But I have caught... We've caught 7 Pokemon this stream? So what are we up to? 32? Let me refresh the Retro Achievements page so I can see if anything did indeed update. Last week's stream actually didn't tick any achievement boxes, and I have no idea why. Yeah, I got the achievement for defeating Mirabee at Real Game Tower. So, I guess we're good there. Also for catching Raikou, also for defeating Iron. So yeah, very odd. Everyone likes a good old Tentacool. It's so weird that some of these Pokemon have evolved. Less than a month for Wii support. Yeah, it's coming up. There's a lot of things coming up as well. The fact that I'll keep noting as well, next week's stream will be on time. The week after will probably not. I'll probably push it back to Wednesday. Because that's the race weekend. We've got our Formula 1. I'm not finished with the preseason testing watching, even though it is over. I haven't finished watching all of it, so I can't come up with any, like, predictions. But hopefully the race in just under 2 weeks is good fun. And hopefully I have a fun time in Melbourne, because it's been ages since I've been to Melbourne. So that'll be good. It'll be good fun. I don't think anyone will recognize me though. I don't think I've had anyone ever recognize me in public, because no one knows what I look like. And that's fine and fair. I shouldn't have talked to him, I should have just kept walking. Here's a question, are his Pokemon stronger? It is! But he still hasn't evolved the Goldie. You want to be thorough? I guess, true, true. So hopefully, if we work our way through to... Because there's the PC and the healing place most of the way through this cave. And the nice thing is that I haven't actually lost that... Well, any Pokemon. I know Suicune's on low health. But hopefully if I can kind of blitz through most of this cave without... Because there's the thing is that this game has no running away. Obviously, because you're in battles the entire game, there's no runaway mechanic. That's why the button is call and not run away. But yeah, the one thing I hope that it doesn't do in Melbourne is absolutely poor. Melbourne is sometimes like that. If you ever go to Melbourne, it's kind of like that. It's like a northern state in the US. Maybe not quite like a northern state, but like think yeah, think like a, I don't know, what would be one? Ooh. I was thinking like Boston, like that kind of one where it's like it can get hot, but it can also be a bit chilly. Listen, yeah, we can be thorough. We can be thorough. I'm gonna kind of rush through a bit more. I don't feel like I should really fight every single person here. Wow! Not evolved to North. I'm curious about how many enemy Pokemon can actually like deal super effective damage against these 3 legendary dogs. Because obviously, I guess, like, you know, Raikou would be weak to anything that's ground type. Also, so is Entei, I guess. And then Suicune, once Suicune finally can do a water type attack, yeah, maybe that'll be a bit better. Also, imagine just getting swept like that. But, you know, I don't know. We're running through. We got legendary dogs. They need to be leveled up in some capacity. Oopsie. I lost. I know where Mirabee has run away. We've beaten Mirabee for the whole rest of the game. Yeah, Meganium's getting some good levels. I will keep Meganium getting levels because Meganium needs to be brought up real strong. So I'm just going to keep running past like maybe some of the trainers I don't need to necessarily care about. I think this guy is going to try and fight me. Yep. Hold it. I feel like I got some fun games to play on the trip down, I'll tell you that. I probably do. I have been looking in the market for, not in the market, because I'm not exactly looking after it, but I've been looking for other things from my mates, to get hardware-wise. I mentioned the 9070 XT. Also, hi Tom! The stream that never ends! We're nearing the 3-hour mark, we haven't exactly ended it. We're not hitting the midnight barrier. The important thing is not to hit the midnight barrier. Actually, you know what's weird as well? I've been trying to wake up earlier and earlier because I realized once I'm in Melbourne, the race, or rather the venue, opens up at 8:30, and I want to see if I can spot Valtteri Bottas coming in. I have no idea what's actually involved with rocking up there at 8:30, but the first things happen at 8:55, so I kind of want to like get in the habit of waking up early again, especially because I'm Airbnb-ing like an hour away by public transport. Maybe Melbourne will be nice when the race is happening and they'll get more public transport to get people in, but I think I'm going to get very caught out. I'm very far away from the track. So that's going to be fun. But yeah, so I woke up at like 6 this morning to just like try and readjust myself to that, because I think I need to leave the house at like 7:15, or not the house, but where I'm staying at like 7:15 a.m. to get to the track at 8:30. And yet I'm doing okay right now, even though I've been up for 17 hours. Welcome to here. What? Sosh. It isn't. Yeah, it's in less than 2 weeks. I am excited. I'm definitely excited. After watching at least a bit of the preseason testing, I've still got I'm in the. Yeah, I feel like it's the only dungeon that repopulates. But when you think about like what other dungeons have there been, like we've had this one. We had bits at Mount Battle, and Mount Battle is repopulated with its own weird stuff. And then there's the little place in the Under, which I don't think has repopulated in any way. They really like their cactus, don't they? But yet we've never seen a cacturn. If only you had a generic Pokédex, you know? You've got the one for the Shadow Pokemon, but you don't actually have like a generic Pokédex. So for Pokemon like Cacnea and probably many 3rd gens, you're probably never going to actually see them. Also, hi, we got to move for Espeon Psych Up. It's a bit too niche. That's a bit too niche. Also, have I run out of Psybeams? I've run out of Psybeams. That's okay, I can use Return, but I've been relying on Psybeam a bit too much. Yeah. The joys of getting through a dungeon. After watching the preseason testing at least a bit, I don't know about the pecking order. I don't know like which teams will exactly be the best, because it's really all over the place, but Aston Martin feels very weird. I don't know what's going on with them. Hopefully they'll be better. But I am excited to see some fun drama, and also people really... or some fun overtakes. I'm hoping that the new regulations and the new things that they're doing with the active arrow and the overtake mode. There we go. So it didn't have to last too long. So hopefully I can save here, and we'll not end the stream just here, although I guess if I did end the stream here, we'd be just shy of the 3 hours. But I'm gonna continue it on just that tad bit. Circle around a bit. It might be better. I'm not sure it'll be good, but it'll be better. Because the cars are ever so slightly smaller, but they're not, like, ridiculously small. Why would you two come back here? So yeah, I'm curious about the Madrid race that's later in the season. That'll be an interesting one. But since, other than no Imola, it's replaced by Madrid. I'm curious if every other track will play nice. So the new regs. Certainly, Melbourne will be a great big test because the cars are going to be twitchier and maybe a bit harder to keep in control in the same way that Ground Effect was under Speed. And Melbourne, while Melbourne is a bit of a risky track in the sense that you got to nail the corners, because if you unbalance the car, you are going to throw yourself off a bit. But with the active arrow, I'm curious if anything is gonna. Well, I guess I'm curious if there's gonna be some drama with getting that all sorted out. Just because, yeah. So for reference, the drivers have to actively hit buttons when they hit straight mode sections of the track. It's just like signs. If they were called DRS, they might be called straight mode now. But there's also actual overtake mode, like markers as well that actually are like DRS, where you have to be within a second of the guy in front. And overtake mode, I think, lasts the whole lap. And it's effectively, you're allowed to throw more battery at the lap, which helps you overtake wherever you want. It doesn't have to be in the one straight. The Spain and Belgium GPs will be in rotation. Oh, I didn't see that one. It's weird because Spa has always led to great racing. Spa has always been an amazing one. Spain's been fairly alright, but when the cars got bigger, it started to get kind of more annoying. I actually hope that the regulations make Barcelona a much more fun track to be on. It's great for MotoGP. It's really good fun for the bikes. But yeah, for the big cars, it's like it's always tough to overtake because you really only can nail that last straight. That's really the only good place to overtake people on, and the middle kind of straight. That one's alright as well, but like it's just DRS spam to get there. So it might be better now. But it's weird because it's like, you know, I like both of those tracks. There's a bunch of other ones. The Dutch Grand Prix will be replaced by Portugal. How long ago has the Portuguese Grand Prix been out of the loop? So I think I only have to fight one guy. Alright, we're finally back here. I'm Miracle B. I'm Mirror B's rightful successor. Going to get me an afro. I wanted to show this guy, which I kind of did last time because I didn't have to fight anyone to get here. But yeah, I mean, his Pokemon are just in line with every other Pokemon that we've seen along the way. Except they are evolved, so they are going to be a bit meaner, but... But again, it's like this guy here is rather undocumented. And, not undocumented as in no one knows about him, but undocumented in the sense that none of the walkthroughs of the time ever mentioned this fight. They would only do, like, the bare minimum. They'd even start, like, skipping regular trainers and just do, oh, you know, these are the shadow Pokemon you need. And then you get a dungeon and you list 2 trainers instead of the 12 that it takes to get there. Like, if anything as well, this whole dungeon here, most of the trainers did not have shadow Pokemon. We needed to get this music back, though, at least for the stream. Unfortunately, I'm probably going to sweep him because all my Pokemon are actually stronger level than him. Also, Espeon is an absolute beast. And I feel like getting Espeon and Umbreon a few more levels will be good fun. And then, really, it's just like, well, what other Pokemon do you have? I guess starter Pokemon is, it's dedication. I think someone might point to maybe have Makuhita instead of this, but I've committed so hard at this point. I've really got to look up moves. I've really got to look up, like, where can I get some, you know, any... Well, I'm really relying on the leveling to make it work, but like, yeah, most of these Pokemon do not have fun moves through leveling because they start so high up. I really want to, like, tag Lanoon. There you go. But I think this fight is worth it just for the music alone. And yes, this music does return in the sequel. Very briefly, but it does. Also, it's got actual Sudowoodo. It's not Shadow Pokemon. There's no Shadow Pokemon in this fight. But yeah, remember 3 streams, or 2 or 3 streams ago when this guy kicked my butt? Nevermore. It's not happening. He is kicking Espeon's butt, but to be fair. That's how you know we've made progress. I call this the call turn, where I just call both Pokemon instead of doing anything. I swear Hyper Mode was meant to have downsides. It doesn't seem to be doing anything negative. I don't think there's really that much of a reason other than you're slower to train. Also, oh, flail. It's a bit mean, but that's okay. Oh, flail. Wait, hold on. I haven't done any damage to you. I said double call, not double flail. Wait, I don't know. There's something wrong when, like, your legendary Pokemon all have Leer. Like, every single one of my Pokemon just has Leer. And as much as Leer is okay of an attack or okay of a move, because lowering defense has its utility in places, it's like... Can we do anything better? Like, can we have a water-type attack show up on the Pokemon? Sudowoodo might be a bit bulky, so I'm actually going to switch Raikou out just to... Oh, they did have Light Screen. Actually, no, Light Screen's for special. Who knows? Let's switch to Umbreon. I mean, it is his last Pokemon, so you can't get too much further than this. Isn't it weird? It's like when we're having to catch Shadow Pokemon and run back and heal and save and stuff like that, that's where most of this game's length comes from. If you actually needed to just blitz your way through a dungeon, you totally can. Oh, he's going to use self-destruct on his final Pokemon, you kidding me? Well, what a weird strat. I get the Imukumi vibes. Yeah, there's a sequel to this game, Pokemon XD. Came out 18 months later and had a 3D Munchlax in it. And Bonsly. Bonsly? You couldn't catch them, but they were there in the game. My dreams! You've ruined my dreams of getting an afro! There we go. We ruined his dreams. And he doesn't even give you anything. He does... Like, he's here. He's there, and I think it's fair, like, leveling experience, but, like... There's nothing to be gained by coming here. Like, at all. Other than you get to say hi to this guy. Which is just, it's a strange one. It's a very odd one. I don't think there's really a quick way to get out of here. Because last time we teleported out, this time he didn't do anything. So I think that's fine as long as this guy doesn't want to refight. Yeah, okay. We're good. We're Gucci. We'll just run out. So I'll run back out to Pyrite Colosseum and we'll call it a stream. A little over 3 hours. But we're not breaking the midnight barrier. It's all good. We were in this weird... Today has been a very weird day. I am in this... and I've had streams like this before, especially in the February times. I don't know why. I always keep complaining about the weather in my room, which is always too hot in the summer and too freezing in the winter. I can't do anything about it, really. Actually, in the winter, I put on like a space heater, and it kind of does okay, but... I feel like it's not fun for my power bill. I gotta say hi to the staircase. There we go. But in the summer, oh, you can't do anything about the heat. Unless you had split system aircon, but I've got a fan, and the fan, like, clearly doesn't work when the room is this small. There we go, down the lift. Actually, we'll go to Mountain Battle. I'm not going to do anything there, but just... I think that'll probably be the fair place to save, and then we'll gain a few levels at the beginning of the next stream. That kind of stuff. But we're making good progress still. The team is getting up in the levels. We're at least all above level 40 now. Meganium is just casually getting tons of levels because I don't trust... Well, I want Meganium to at least do stuff. Come on, Meganium, you gotta be okay. But no, other than that, real good progress this stream. And again, we're at the end of the game, basically. Real Game Tower is the right end of the game. It's just you got to beat a bunch of bosses in order to get there, and you've also got to be confident enough to fight a level 60 at the very end of it all, which I am not. So I don't think it's gonna happen next stream, but we'll see. We'll see. So we're done there. We'll save here. There we go. 32 Pokemon snagged. That's out of 48, and we're not catching all of them. We're just seeing how far we go, so... Anyways, with that, I'd like to thank you so very, very much for watching. If you enjoyed this, or you didn't enjoy it, that's fine. You know the deal. Follow on Twitch, 8:30 PM Australian Eastern Daylight Time every Monday. Except in 2 weeks, we'll go on to that later. Missed parts of this VOD will be on YouTube. Lots of news today. Yeah, lots of stuff today. February does be like that. Especially after, well... Actually, it's been a while since the Friday the 13th, but... no, it's all good. Yeah, thank you, fellas, for being here. Yeah, VOD's on YouTube. Follow on the Fetty, m.biendeo.com. I didn't talk about games I played. That's fine. You can just check my backlogs if you want to see that as well. But yeah. Oh, I got very heated about AI surveillance and stuff. That's always good fun. So, anyways, take care. Don't stay up too late. Eat your greens. I always say eat your greens. I don't really cook too many greens for myself. Just more proteins. Anyways, peace.